Chapter 439, Rebellion. Chapter 439, Rebellion. Come night, Second Prince and Yu Ming were sitting in the main hall waiting for information. Below them were military officials, with the commander of the city guards in the lead. Since the emperor had left the safety of the capital in the Second Prince's hands, these men were his to command. To seize the throne and rule the lands, he needed a proper foundation. What's taking so long? Second Prince's feet bounced, waiting with anxiety. Yu Ming, next to him, shook his head. Second Prince wears his heart on his sleeve. How can he be ruler material? If by some miracle, he gets the throne, he'll soon get kicked off anyway. Unlike the current emperor, who, despite being known as incapable, had his own thinking. He had toyed with Tianyu's old foxes for decades. A true master of the mind. Just how can such a father have a hot head for a son? Humph, that midwife must have been at fault. She must have dropped him on his head at birth. Smiley face the literal translation, she had to have thrown away the baby thinking it was the placenta rather than the true baby. I.e. calling him brain dead. Yu Ming mocked him inside. Second Prince had no clue that his most trusted advisor had no trust in him at all, only waiting impatiently for the spy. Whoosh! A man appeared in front, on his knees. Second Prince jumped to his feet. What's the situation? Your Highness, Dugu army has been marching for a month and is thousands of leagues away. It will be impossible for them to return in time, even if it is only Dugu Zhantian or the 4 tigers of Tianyu. Truly. Second Prince was ecstatic. Ha ha ha, Dugu army is gone for real. Father is wide open. Commander, assemble the 30,000 guards and attack the palace and force father to abdicate. By morning, at court, I'll be the new emperor. No one can do anything, ha ha ha. Yes, your majesty. Long live the emperor, the commander bowed. Second Prince laughed harder, his face beaming, writing himself off as the emperor already. He, let's see who will dare say I'm not fit to rule when I have the imperial palace in my palm. Second Prince left with the captains right behind him. Begin, capture all officials. I don't want any chaos. 30,000 imperial guards are enough to seize everything. We will settle it tonight. Your Majesty is invincible. The men chapped their lips. Only Yu Ming stayed behind with a mocking smile. Humph, the tallest tree gets all the wind. The imperial capital doesn't lack men with power and ambition, so why the hell don't they act, leaving you to go first? Idiot, your only use is to be someone else's pawn. I've done what Zhuo Fan and Leng Wuchang asked. The imperial capital will be in chaos, Dugu Zhantian's army will have to return and they can fight to their heart's content, ha ha ha. Yu Ming slunk into the dark night. The main street of the imperial capital was soon crawling with soldiers. One busybody got too curious but was scared away by the display. Some stubborn officials were under house arrest, with nobody going in or out. Sighing, these men guessed what was going on. Someone was rebelling, now of all times, when everything was in chaos. All they could do was to wait for the resolution, knowing the night would be a chaotic one. Zhuge Changfeng was at his home, consulting the details of his operation when he heard the commotion outside. One servant reported seeing guards around the house. Everyone was frantic, especially a man with sideburns, shouting, "Humph, didn't I tell you? He even has the Prime Minister's house surrounded. Just which captain dares to do this? Minister of War, settle down." Zhuge Changfeng smiled, ha ha ha, they're only making a scene, that's all. But Lord Prime Minister, to have guards surround the Minister of War is a direct affront to me. The man was outraged at the gross lack of respect. Zhuge Changfeng laughed, there's no need to feel shame when they aren't even your men. Our men are still waiting outside. Just let these brutes search all they want, then we'll decide on our course of action. Zhuge Changfeng's eyes flashed. The Minister of War showed a crafty grin in reply, nodded and sat down. Inside the imperial palace, the emperor was at his desk when he heard a cry and a servant frantically came over. "Why, your majesty, this is terrible." "Slow down." The emperor remained calm. Taking a deep breath, the man said, "Our revolt, your majesty. They're attacking the imperial palace and we're being overrun." "What?" The emperor rushed to his feet. But the servant begged before he could go, "Your majesty, it's too dangerous. Please use the secret tunnel and flee. I am the ruler of this nation. How can I flee from my lands?" Snorting, the emperor walked out. Just who dares to act with such impertinence? At the emperor's steel gaze, the servant sighed and followed behind him. They just stepped out and flames flashed across the sky with shouts and roars echoing everywhere. They saw a tide of soldiers smashing into the imperial palace and the imperial guards being pushed back. He also recognized who the rebels were, the city guards. Panting, out of the 3,000 imperial guards, only 300 remained, bloody and wounded. They all circled the emperor, their faces grave. Squinting, the emperor looked on happily. "My child, why are you using the city guards for your own means and charging on the imperial palace?" "Ha ha ha, oh imperial father. How do you know that I am leading the city guards and it's not them rebelling on their own accord?" A brash laugh announced the arrival of second prince surrounded by 10 radiant stage experts. Snickering, the emperor mocked, "Commander of the guards is not impulsive, and certainly not stupid enough to stick his neck out." "You." Second prince was infuriated. The emperor was mocking him for his rash actions, for that useless thing he had on his shoulder, even worse than a city commander. "Imperial father, I know you've only cared for the elder brother and always looked down on me. But now you shall see what I'm made of." "Oh, I think I've seen quite enough, a brainless buffoon. If I'd left the empire in your hands, the Yuan clan won't even see the end of the year, with the nation falling into anarchy." The emperor patronized. Second prince was fuming. "You can look down on me all you want, but history is written by the winner. I have you surrounded, the entire imperial palace is under my control. Make me an emperor now and I will let you retire and leave in bliss." "Humph, you really are my son. But what if I don't plan on retiring? Maybe I'll keep this seat a while longer." The emperor belittled. Shuddering, the second prince spat, "Imperial father, don't push me." "What, you'll kill me? Kill your own flesh and blood?" The emperor taunted. Second prince's eyes were red. "Imperial father, you will abdicate, whether you want to or not. Or our ties will be cut in blood." Second prince shouted, "Guard, bring his majesty a pen and paper. He is about to abdicate. Kill anyone who interferes." "Understood." The guard army roared like a tsunami, filled with zest and power as it pressed on. The emperor was not the least bit scared, but one couldn't say the same about the imperial guards around him, shirking back slowly. Second prince saw them still acting firm and looked to his left. One radiant stage expert caught his meaning and flew for the emperor. But a figure cut that expert's path while someone shouted, "Second brother, stop." Chapter 440, Oriole Behind. Chapter 440, Oriole Behind. Bam! The clash rattled the men, making both sides drop their weapons in favor of covering their ears. The two experts separated and the radiant stage expert fell back to the second prince's side. The other was next to the emperor, followed by 7 more, the remaining radiant stage guards in the imperial palace. Yongning scrambled over, ranting, "Second brother, how can a prince stoop to such disgraceful acts as to take up arms and revolt? Stop this right now and ask imperial father for forgiveness." "Shut up, Yongning, this has nothing to do with you." Second prince never spared her a glance, only glaring at the emperor. "Imperial father, ever since the fiasco with Zhuofan, your radiant stage guards are heavily wounded. You have no chance. I do not wish for patricide, to be labeled a king slayer by the people. I advise you to abdicate." The emperor mocked, "Son, the throne has always been acquired through succession or war. I'll be honest with you. I never cared much for you, nor did I plan on making you the next in line. If you want my throne, you will just have to take it from my hands. The emperor raised his palm. Although empty, it carried all the imperial power he mustered as he taunted, if you can, that is. Second prince gnashed his teeth, his nails digging into his palms, and spoke in a tragic tone, Imperial father, finally you've come clean. You never tried to groom me into an emperor, casting me aside from the beginning. Then all I can say is that today, the throne will be mine. Don't blame me, father, as I'm about to break our ties. Second prince almost roared, his eyes bloodshot. The emperor, though, just looked back coldly. Second prince's heart was struck with dolor. He sensed that his beloved imperial father never even considered him as his son, fueling his burning rage. Kill. Leave none alive. Get the jade seal. I'll draft the order myself. Understood. The men shouted, storming the palace. The 10 radiant stage experts moved as well. With only 8 experts on the emperor's side and no divine dragons around, they held the advantage. The emperor would soon lay in chains and the coup would be victorious. The radiant stage experts were giddy at the prospects. They would become the new emperor's loyal officials, blessed with riches and resources. The emperor's radiant stage guards were getting graver by the second, finding themselves outnumbered and unfit to protect the emperor. Yongning cried, Father, look out. The emperor still bore the same calculative look, standing firm and unflinching. His eyes flashed at the incoming enemy. Where are the shadow guards? Who? Black streaks flew from around the emperor with eerie cackles. They moved on to the radiant stage experts like black clouds, in the hundreds. All experts kept calm and retaliated. But their attacks went right through the shadows, having no effect at all. While the shadow guards relied on their strong souls and couldn't enjoy tearing into the enemy, they could at least mess with their minds and unnerve them. There was hardly a radiant stage expert among the shadow guards, but thanks to their creepy methods and their numbers, the enemy had no counter to their harassment. The emperor's radiant stage guards were filled with bloodlust. With the shadow guards keeping the experts busy, the guards would rob their lives. They moved fast, jumped up in the air and came down under the cover of the shadows with a heavy palm attack. Ugh! Second prince's experts drew a trail of blood as they crossed the sky. As for the city guards, they were pushed back in but few moves from the radiant stage imperial guards. Second prince's experts could do nothing but lay there wounded. Watching their brothers breathe their last, the city guards' metal cracked and shuddered back. Damn those pestering shadows. Second prince spat, I knew them to only be scouts, but they're actually so strong, even without the Shadow King around. Imperial father, is this your last ace? Second prince muttered. The emperor's eyes flashed in disappointment. Son, know yourself and your enemy and you shall be ever victorious. You are truly a lost cause to fight your father without even knowing my hidden aces. Sigh, so many years have passed yet you never could fix this brash side of yours. Second prince clenched his fists in denial. His mutiny might have less to do with reaching that fantastical throne and more to earn his father's approval. Only to have neither. Second prince, the shadow guards will overrun us. We need to fall back. One radiant stage expert, with blood coming from his mouth, advised, with the imperial capital in turmoil, despite our failure, we will make a comeback as long as your highness lives. Come back? From this? This mutiny, here and now, was his best chance. He took the city guards for himself and struck while the emperor lay defenseless. This was as good as it was ever going to get. Failing now, he'd be hard-pressed to get a chance even remotely as good as this one. And yet. He looked at the fallen radiant stage experts of his, at the city guards being toyed with by mere hundreds of shadow guards, and the second prince closed his eyes in defeat. I've truly lost. Second prince. Another expert urged. Flashing his eyes open, he steeled his voice, fall back. Second prince and his experts in the lead quickly made their getaway. Yet he turned his head at the emperor now and then as the city guards followed behind him. The emperor's eyes were struck with lamentation. After them. One radiant stage guard shouted, seeing them on the run. The emperor sighed, waving, "Leave him be." The radiant stage guards froze, but nodded. "Your Majesty is the Lord Supreme but still a father. Second Prince has revolted tonight, yet His Majesty would let him go." While the emperor didn't pursue, some shrewder individuals weren't about to let this prime chance go. Second Prince was pulling out of the imperial palace while fending off pursuers when a boom revealed torches lighting up just beyond the gates, shining across thousands upon thousands of faces. Second Prince watched the sea of lights and spat, "Crown Prince, third brother, have you come to ambush me? Second brother, you had the gall to raise your arms against our emperor and are charged with heinous crimes. Talk, how is the imperial father?" Crown Prince stepped forth, demanding. Yuan Song was worried, "Second brother, how are the imperial father and Yongning? You couldn't have been so cold as to harm them." "Humph, old third, when people speak of lowbrow, bug-eyed, fat-headed fool, they mean you. I thought it would be obvious by now how they're doing by looking at my beaten army." Second Prince mocked, "Ha ha ha, elder brother, you sure are considerate. I'm sure you've been waiting for this chance for a long time. With the sin of regicide on my head, you would have all the right to take me down and take the throne for yourself. Humph, like a true Oriole. Now I see why the imperial father made you crown prince. You really are resourceful." Crown Prince held him in a cold stare. "Second brother, you are jumping to conclusions. I only have imperial father's safety in mind." "Do you, now? Then you should be relieved to know that the imperial father is the picture of health, strong as a horse. It'll be a long time before you'll take his mantle, decades even, ha ha ha." Second Prince cackled, to which the Crown Prince displayed a bloodthirsty look. Second brother truly is a waste. Chapter 441, Punishment. Chapter 441, Punishment. Third Prince was overjoyed to know that the emperor was unharmed. "Elder brother, imperial father and Yongning are all right. We made it in time. And the heavens are by imperial father's side." Crown Prince nodded, looking calm, but when he saw the Second Prince, he barked, "Second brother, you stand accused of inciting rebellion. Give yourself in and let us take you before the imperial father for your sentence." Second Prince mocked, "You've got another thing coming if you think it'd be that easy. I may have failed, but I still have my guards, my radiant stage experts. It'd be easy to get through you. Would it?" Crown Prince looked down on him with a smile and shouted at the crowd, "Officers of the city guard, have you forgotten whose men you really are? You have taken up arms against your lord, but your name is still on the record. You may run, but what about your families? Will you condemn them to annihilation?" Every city guard shuddered on hearing this and their morale plunged. Frowning, Second Prince picked up on the Crown Prince's trick and his eyes spat fire. Crown Prince snickered, addressing the men once more, "You are all loyal soldiers of the nation, tough and hard-working. This is not how you should go down in history. You are also victims in this mutiny. Stand down, turn back, and I promise, in my name as Crown Prince, that His Majesty will overlook this act of yours. You will keep your jobs, you will stay as city guards." Crown Prince. Second Prince snapped, jumping at him with a 5th-grade spiritual weapon. Crown Prince was firm, facing him with a 5th-grade spiritual weapon of his own. Bam! Under the screeches of metal grinding on everyone's ears, they saw a terrible explosion as the Second Prince was pushed back and started spurting blood. He lay on the ground, pale and haggard. Crown Prince stood up with his weapon out, just like before, a cold smile on his lips. The only testament to his power was the cracked pavement underneath. Second Prince. The radiant stage experts helped him up, while the city guards stayed away, as did the commander. Crown Prince had given them a way out. Picking up arms now would doom not only them but their families, their entire clans. The warm smile of Crown Prince showed them how much he appreciated their intelligence, and he now turned to the radiant stage experts. Every single cultivator only fights for resources, spirit stones and pills. Now that he has failed in his rebellion, what could he possibly give you? Give up and stand beside me. I will make you venerables. Or would you rather be on the run with my retarded brother? Ha ha ha, inciting a rebellion is a heavy crime, not something even a radiant stage expert would dare commit on a whim. Or he'd soon find himself hunted down by the Empire. Of course, if you think you're Gu Santong who could fight a nation, then by all means. With a shiver, the experts felt a desperate fear run through their blood. They were just average, not freaks of Zhuo Fan or Gu Santong's caliber to flip the table in the Emperor's face on a whim. It was all about power, something they sorely lacked. Without much suspense, they all sighed and left with hands behind their backs, towards the Crown Prince. Watching his men leave him one by one left the second prince with a sinking feeling, his gaze empty. Ha ha ha, see that? The moment you lose is the moment you have nothing. The experts, the city guards, they didn't do it for you, but for that thing hovering over your head, the title of prince. Now that even that is taken away, you are nothing, just a lonely rebel. Your only choice now is to give up, ha ha ha. Crown Prince laughed at the second prince frozen on the ground. Not only was ruling out of reach, even his status was threatened. Third prince shook his head, sending 2 men to tie him up. His mind was still in shock, walking around like an empty shell only capable of regret and dread. The Emperor was back at his desk, lamenting. Yongning poured him tea, urging, Imperial Father, please cheer up. Second brother's merely blinded by greed, the power having gone to his head. He'd never willingly hurt you. Ha ha ha, I would have been happier if he did. A pity this is as far as my child can go. The Emperor shook his head. Yongning started, what does that mean? Nothing. This is a man's game, something you don't understand and hope you never will. The Emperor patted her head with a fond gaze, I wish for you to stay like this forever, pure and unmarred by the world's corruption. Blinking her big eyes, Yongning nodded clueless. The Emperor smiled, I just love that silly look on your face, ha ha ha. Report. A sharp voice announced the arrival of a servant, Your Majesty, Crown Prince and Third Prince's timely intervention has captured Second Prince's rebel army. The 2 princes are wishing to see Your Majesty with the rebel prince. Humph, impeccable timing too. The Emperor snorted, I'll allow it. Yes. The servant left. Yongning watched in worry, Imperial Father, what are you going to do with second brother? The Emperor's eyes flashed, the silence weighing heavy on Yongning's innocent heart. They were kin, born of the same parent. How could she bear seeing her father kill her brother? But even she realized the gravity of rebellion. A prince would suffer the same fate as the next criminal, the gallows. The fact that she could do nothing to plead his case only burdened her heart more. Crown Prince and Blobby brought in a tied-up second prince, Imperial Father, I ask that you forgive me for my late arrival to your rescue. Crown Prince, how did you handle your brother and the guards? The Emperor asked. Crown Prince was candid, forgive me, Imperial Father, I have taken the liberty to let them go. To let them return to their posts. With troubled times upon us, you cannot blame them. There was no need to exacerbate. Crown Prince, you've done well. The Emperor nodded. Crown Prince bowed with gratitude, I thank Imperial Father for his kind words. The Emperor turned to the captive, son, I've told you before. You can only have what I give you and never take what I don't give you. Do you finally see the wisdom in my words? Humph, what use does wisdom have to a defeated general? Second Prince sighed, I never considered the fact that the reason behind my rebellion was all due to my title as prince, the title Imperial Father gave me. Now that you've taken it away, I will be worse than nothing, ha ha ha. Imperial Father, is this what you wanted me to see? The Emperor shook his head, the sky is boundless and the lands vast, but the power of the Emperor goes beyond them all. I only wish to tell you that I am the true ruler of Tianyu. You can pull any stunt you like, as long as you don't rebel. Second prince sighed, hanging his head. Crown Prince's eyes glinted. Imperial father, may I ask what is the second prince's sentence? The fatty probed. All eyes turned to the emperor. Only second prince's head was still down, in the pits of despair. The emperor took a deep breath. Guards, throw second prince Yuan Yong in prison, where he shall spend the remainder of his days. Second prince shuddered, incapable of believing his ears. He had rebelled and should have been given the noose, so why? A father's love is boundless. You may find it in you to take my life for the throne, but I will never think for a second to kill my son. Take him away, the emperor mocked and sighed. Second prince never spoke a word even as he was dragged away by the imperial guards, but his eyes reddened. The fatty and Yongning perked up. Crown Prince looked happy, but the emperor picked up on the discontent in his eyes. Crown Prince, a lord needs to show mercy. He can no longer stand in your way. As both a warning and advice, the emperor spoke with a flick of his sleeve, sending them all away. Crown Prince shuddered, his face gloomy as he shuffled away with a lowered head. Chapter 442, To War. Chapter 442, To War. At long last, the sun dawned on the imperial capital after a tumultuous night, finding the city guards at their posts and the order restored. Zhuge Changfeng and many officials were waiting in the prime minister's mansion for updates. A shadow burst in and whispered in Zhuge Changfeng's ear, causing his smile to widen. Prime Minister sir, what's the situation? The Minister of War asked. Zhuge Changfeng shook his head, like a true failure he is, the second prince could never live up to his majesty's ability. However, and he laughed, thanks to the second prince's tantrum, he left his majesty open to scrutiny. He is indeed playing the empty city tactic. All he has are some shadow guards and wounded imperial guards. The Minister of War proposed, then we can. Of course. Zhuge Changfeng was firm, having grasped the truth, the old man has gone all in on this move of his. He has sent his forces to deal with those two yet sits steady on his throne to blind us. He'd never guess that his treasured empty city tactic is now in shambles. It's like the heavens are begging us to take this chance. Ha ha ha. Minister, our forces can begin. Take the imperial palace within the week. Zhuge Changfeng's eyes flashed, his voice stern. The Minister of War saluted, as did the rest of the excited officials. The time for a new ruler is upon us. News of the second prince's rebellion spread like wildfire, reaching Dugu Zhantian's ears thousands of miles away 3 days later. Dugu Zhantian panicked and was about to turn back. He didn't even get to strike camp though as a yellow flash landed before the marshal's tent bearing a scroll with imperial edict on it. Dugu Zhantian convened with his tigers and received the order. Hear ye, the emperor's edict. Marshal Dugu is to stamp out the traitors and press on with valor. He is not to return without results. The radiant stage messenger was one of the few capable guards the emperor had left. For him to come at this time spoke of the importance of this order. Dugu Zhantian took the edict, I am honored. May his majesty live a long and prosperous life. And then he put on a heavy look, is his majesty safe? Rest easy, Marshal Dugu. Everything has been handled. Second prince's rebellion was put down swiftly. The messenger smiled. Dugu Zhantian relaxed, yet was pensive, but this would have revealed all the forces by his majesty's side. His aged face was filled with wrinkles from all the worry once more. The messenger spoke with admiration, Marshal Dugu is indeed loyal to a fault to the nation. To be frank, his majesty's guard isn't looking good. But as you can see from his majesty's decree, you cannot return. His majesty is burning all his boats. For peace in Tianyu, he is willing to forego even his safety. Dugu Zhantian shook his head. The messenger nodded slowly. After he left, Dugu Zhantian looked at the thin paper in his hands for a long time. The emperor feared he'd rush back after catching the news of the capital and sent this radiant stage expert. Any delay would not only promise a swift end to Zhuo Fan and Regent Estates' war, but would also give them time to recoup. There'd be no point in going then, turning into both sides losing. Dugu Zhantian was once again touched by his emperor's concern and struck out camp to set off. Only this time, his marching was faster, hoping to settle the matters here and get back to the imperial capital before anything worse happened. Meanwhile, in a deep ravine, Luo clan and Regent Estate were each parked on the hills opposite of each other, each eyeing the other with the thirst for battle. Despite the declarations of war, despite the drive to quell each other, they still had some qualms about fighting, fears revolving around hidden traps. But time was of the essence, and the sooner they got this over and done with, the better. Which led to an accord to the face-off here, at Troubled Falcon's Gully, in a head-on and above-board manner. On the Luo clan's corner, besides Zhuo Fan and his radiant stage elders, there were experts from his 3 allies present as well. Each of them glared at Regent Estate with rage and malice for destroying their homes, hatred consuming them. Regent Estate's side was no different. Its allies mirrored the enemy's thirst for blood and deep rancor. It was by Zhuo Fan's grace that their homes were in an even sorrier sight. The desecration of their ancestors tended to bring out the worst in people. Who knew? Their hatred for Zhuo Fan went beyond bone deep at this point, it was in their DNA. They wished for nothing more than to put Zhuo Fan into a press and squeeze him for all the blood he had. Yet all they've been doing these past weeks was measuring egos by means of glares, with neither wanting to take the first step down this bloody war. It had the added effect of fermenting each side's hatred and testing their ever-thinning patience. That was the only thing they could do, as each side's allies were either under direct orders from Zhuo Fan or Regent Estate. With no right to complain, they just had to wait and wait some more. Steward Zhuo, we've been staring at each other for weeks. When do you plan to attack? Grandmother found the limit of her patience once more and came to urge Zhuo Fan, as she had done many times till now. The other houses nodded. Zhuo Fan was laid back per usual, in his comfy deck chair, his lazy eyes closed and his voice drawn out, easy, we're still waiting for the right timing. Still? Until when do we wait? Until we become statues of liberty? Peony Overseer snapped. Zhuo Fan swayed in his chair. The same thing was going on at Regent Estate's corner. Yuan Shan and company were boiling, but Huangpu Tianyuan and Leng Wuchang reined them in. They were all a powder keg of emotions with nowhere to vent. Whoosh! 2 jade slips arrived at the camps. Zhuo Fan skimmed over it as Leng Wuchang did the same. The two were miles from each other, yet reacted at the same time and in the same manner. Ha ha ha, at last there's movement. What do you mean? Grandmother asked. Snickering, Zhuo Fan shot to his feet and barked, notify the elders. We attack at once. What? They were all baffled. He just asked us to wait and the next second he is asking us to attack. Just what on earth happened? Nonetheless, they all began war preparations, eager to get the show on the road and the blood flowing. In quick order, rows of experts rolled out into the valley like a black cloud, glaring at the hill 1,000 meters in the distance. Huangpu Tianyuan and Leng Wuchang brought out their army as well. Zhuo Fan, Huangpu Tianyuan and Leng Wuchang's eyes met and they burst out laughing. We finally get to see today, when I can tear you to shreds, all to my heart's content. Zhuo Fan, it's high time you paid for taking away my son. Huangpu Tianyuan roared, to which Zhuo Fan only had derision. Huangpu Tianyuan, let's see you try. Leng Wuchang fanned himself with a smile, Estate Lord, Steward Zhuo, we are all bitter enemies here, with each side wishing to destroy the other. Just that there were so many interferences along the way. This is a rare occasion, with Second Prince's rebellion igniting the chaos yet Dugu army still marching towards us. It won't be long before Prime Minister Zhuge acts as well and gets him to turn back. That only leaves the two of us, to tear into each other with a bright smile on our faces. Isn't it great? So why waste time with pointless chatter? We need to settle our grudges with speed and force, giving time for the winner to take the nation. As for the loser, it will become a stepping stone with no regrets. No regrets indeed. Zhuo Fan beamed, I never pegged Sir Leng to be such a bold man. All words now are useless. Everyone has come prepared, so what are we waiting for? Let's do some killing. No matter what hatred we had before, this battle is all that's important, whoever stands tall in the end. What do you say, Estate Lord Huangpu? Huangpu Tianyuan beamed as well, ha ha ha, rightly said indeed. Hatred aside, in the race for power the weak gets eaten. Why would the king of the world ever care about some petty squabbles? Zhuo Fan, you are a man of ambition. For me to fight you today, with the world at stake, it is an honor. The revenge for my son no longer matters. Why would a man with his eyes on the world ever mind such trifles? Then, Estate Lord Huangpu, shall we? Zhuo Fan snickered. Huangpu Tianyuan had the same twisted smile as both of them roared, to war. Chapter 443, General vs. General. Chapter 443, General vs. General. The leaders' roars rattled the skies and their men's ears. Men poured out from each side like black rain, bone-tempering disciples. The two sides' gazes were locked as the wave of men rushed past them and deeper into the valley. These men's eyes turned red, consumed by madness as they exploded with Yuan Qi. It took only an instant to brandish their weapons and hack their opponents. The entire troubled Falcon's Gully was saturated with people, in the hundreds of thousands, drowning any other sound with their endless manic cries for blood and death. There were rules to war. Soldiers went against soldiers, and generals paired with generals. As profound heaven experts and radiant stage experts were pretty much killing machines amidst bone-tempering cultivators, both sides agreed on having their disciples' battle ignored, opting instead to stare off their equals in cultivation just across the gully. They were the real targets. Killing bone-tempering disciples only brought disgrace. Safe to say, the killing inside the gully among disciples reached the heavens, while their superiors were still in a stare-down competition behind them. Huangpu Fenglei. Mad Dipper Li Jingtian stood out, bowing before the High Venerable. We didn't get to finish our last fight in the imperial capital. With this prime chance befalling, will you dare meet me in battle? Ha ha ha, Li Jingtian, you're on quite the high horse, shamelessly uttering those words to me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you under me? Laughing, Huangpu Fenglei came forward with an intent to fight and a condescending look. Li Jingtian grinned, humph, that's all in the past. All I'm asking is if you would dare to come at me. Why wouldn't I? Huangpu Fenglei jumped in the air towards him. Li Jingtian laughed as he did the same. The two met with a resounding bang, blowing away the clouds for a mile around. Their clash was so loud that the house lords on each side had to hold their ears due to pain. Only radiant stage experts and the likes of Zhuo Fan and Huangpu Tianyuan kept standing tall and observing their duel. Huangpu Fenglei shone golden and 9 dragon images appeared on his sides, the peak of imperial tyrant body art. Li Jingtian flickered in darkness, enveloped in a black dragon image. He was using Wraith Art's power to cover himself. Both were peak radiant stage experts armed with profound ranked martial arts trained to extremes. They were the brightest gems around, evenly matched. The surging powers at work here had the valley divided. One side was shrouded in a black dragon, with lightning crackling along its way, the other in glorious golden halo and imposing dominance. Yet neither could win over the other, stuck in a constant stalemate. Huangpu Tianyuan's brow trembled, sighing, I now know why Elder Li threw his lot with the Luo clan. I don't even recognize this art. But for him to stand on solid ground against High Venerable, it goes on to show how much power it has. I can't fathom how the Luo clan could have such wonderful art. Had Elder Li stayed in Regent Estate, he'd never have reached High Venerable's level even after training for a century in the incomplete Imperial Tyrant body art. But now. Ha ha ha, Estate Lord, I anticipated Luo clan might be complex. Elder Li is no fool and his complete loyalty to Zhuo Fan shows that he got something great out of it. It was his best choice taking the Luo clan's outstretched hand. Leng Wuchang smiled. Huangpu Tianyuan sighed inside. Zhuo Fan is a genius among geniuses. In under 10 years, he dragged a nobody third-rate clan up the stairs of power, turning it into a colossus. Ignoring him 7 years ago is my greatest failure. If only I knew, I'd have sent everything to cull him. Huangpu Tianyuan squinted. Zhuo Fan had a knowing smile, tracing 2 fingers on his neck as a taunt. Huangpu Tianyuan turned to look at the fight above. Humph, Zhuo Fan, be smug all you want. I may not have taken you out when I should, but your time will come soon, very soon. You aren't invincible. You have yet to taste my 9 dragons' diamond body, humph. Bang. The body cultivators in the sky had similar styles, unleashing one overpowered attack after another. It took but a second to exchange 10 moves. With no clear winner in sight. Li Jingtian was out of breath and bruised up. Huangpu Fenglei mirrored him in every regard, except for the shocked look. This was his first time truly going against Li Jingtian. It was natural to be overwhelmed seeing Li Jingtian's power reach his level after a mere decade. It used to take less than 10 moves to floor him. This expert today was outraged at his inability to reach the same outcome today. Li Jingtian was ecstatic. He enjoyed the simple things in life. Like challenging his ex-boss who could, at one time, deck him good. Li Jingtian grinned. Huangpu Fenglei, have you been losing your touch the past couple of years? You are not swinging your punches like you used to. Is old age catching up to you? Ha ha ha. Shut your pie hole. I'm only going easy on you and this is the thanks I get, mockery. In that case, I won't leave you with a shred of honor. Huangpu Fenglei went red from anger, yet his heart was queasy since he did give his all. Anything more would mean staking his life as well. Did he really have to put his weary old bones on the line to get out of this? While he was having a hard time making a decision, Li Jingtian had already made his. He had set out to do one thing today, beat his ex-boss. Missing this chance, Zhuo Fan was bound to finish him off at some point. As a martial fanatic, he just had to beat the guy who had wrecked him years ago or he'd never forgive himself. It would have the added side effect of affecting his cultivation. Li Jingtian gnashed his teeth and spat, Huangpu Fenglei, take this. Li Jingtian's black aura exploded, shooting for Huangpu Fenglei as a black dragon wrapped around him. Humph, isn't it the same soaring demonic dragon again? It won't change a thing. Huangpu Fenglei snorted with a shiny golden glow around him. Li Jingtian had a creepy smile on him though and, just before impact, he halted to make a sign, Wraith Style's third move, Necro Dragon Screech. Roar. The black dragon image ripped the space in its charge towards Huangpu Fenglei. Safe to say, even with Imperial Tyrant body art, Huangpu Fenglei would have a hard time fending off such an onslaught from such a short distance. And that was the truth of it. Huangpu Fenglei was forced into letting his soul take the brunt. A wound on the soul meant a drop in strength, which translated into defeat. Facing his ex-subordinate and losing, High Venerable's name would be soaked in mud. Huangpu Fenglei bit his tongue and spat blood as he made a sign, Imperial Tyrant Body Art's 10th stage, Imperial Presence. Hum. A golden glow washed over him as a golden dragon roamed around him in an airtight seal. The 10th? Zhuo Fan cried, that's stepping into the earth-ranked martial art category. Does Imperial Tyrant Body Art have a 10th stage? Huangpu Tianyuan was stumped, amazed that Huangpu Fenglei had reached such a level. Imperial Tyrant Body Art had 9 stages, with the 10th stage mere hearsay. Only the ancestors of Regent Estate a millennium ago could reach it. High Venerable is a genius of his generation, no less than the eldest young master. If not for the dragon's soul defending him, he never would have been High Venerable's match. High Venerable is a true genius of the millennium. Leng Wuchang praised. Huangpu Tianyuan nodded. Huangpu Fenglei laughed behind the golden curtain. Li Jingtian, do you see this? This is the true power of imperial tyrant body art, martial and spiritual unity. Be it physical or soul attacks, nothing can break the imperial presence. Think again. Li Jingtian grinned, his black aura disappeared as an eerie power built up while he extended 2 fingers. High Venerable, the only way to make your defeat true is by taking you down at your best. Zhuo Fan cried, elderly. Chapter 444, A Martial Fanatic's Honor. Chapter 444, A Martial Fanatic's Honor. Hum. A dreadful wave shot from Li Jingtian's fingers. His face went purple, blood leaked from his mouth and the veins in his arms pulsed, ready to burst. Yet none of that could wipe the excitement off his face, releasing every ounce of power he had. That's the profound ranked martial art, Finger of Death. Sensing the energy, Qiu Yanhai cried, ever since Steward Zhua has taught it to us, we haven't had much time to practice it. Yet this geezer has already mastered it. He really is the Mad Dipper. Shui Qingjian nodded in praise. Only Zhuo Fan sighed. Huangpu Fenglei, try this on for size. Despite sucking all of his yuan qi, the move launched quickly, leaving Li Jingtian's finger at his shout. Whoosh! With a series of bangs, something unseen came out of his fingers and went straight for his target. The roaming dragon was outraged. It grew dozens of times in size and retaliated. Its power as if coming from heavens themselves pressed on the house lords with such might, fear festered in their hearts. Huangpu Fenglei, wrapped in his pillar of light, showed shock at Li Jingtian hiding such a killer move. The power of that soul attack went beyond Radiant Stage and not even with the help of Imperial Tyrant Body Art's 10th stage could he fend it off. Huangpu Fenglei was sweating, his big eyes taking on a heavy gaze. Qiu Yanhai and Shui Qingjian were panicking, Steward Zhua, that's combination art. Zhuo Fan shook his head. The two were even more nervous now, but he's just one man. How can he perform combination art? Elder Li may very well be the only one who can. Zhuo Fan sighed, Necro Dragon's Screech and Finger of Death are so profound ranked martial arts and can be combined. But to do that, both have to be executed in tandem, intrinsically at the same time. Even you two will find it hard to achieve it. But with Elder Li knowing both of them, combining them is not the issue here. Zhuo Fan's frown deepened, gazing at the aged figure above. Different martial arts imply that yuan qi takes different paths through one's meridians. When you launch an attack, there's always a pause before the next. Elder Li, I'm afraid, pulled out all the stops, unleashing the arts at almost the exact same time. This translates into broken meridians from the clashing flows of yuan qi and you'll be crippled. Elder Li may have achieved it, but his body is finished. What, Elder Li? The couple's faces fell, turning to Li Jingtian. His power was plunging after unleashing the two arts. Elder Li, why did you have to go so far? Huangpu Fenglei is strong, but not invincible. There's no hatred between you two, so why must you pay the ultimate price? Zhuo Fan and the power couple were vexed. This is no kill or be killed situation. Xie Tiansheng whipped out his sword, coming before them and smiled at the figure above. Zhuo Fan, you do not understand a martial fanatic's heart. If you do not surpass an opponent you recognize, it will leave one with regrets. Today is when these two sides will settle their differences once and for all. If we fail, we will die. If we win, we will kill them. With your strength, Huangpu Fenglei will most likely die at your hands, something Elder Li can't stop. It means that this is his last chance to fight his enemy. He must defeat his opponent by any means necessary. This is a martial fanatic's will and glory. Spoken like a true martial fanatic. The people watched Elder Li pant, as blood kept pouring out of him. But his eyes were full of joy, his smile wide. It's so hard to understand the mind of a martial fanatic. The way I see it, winning is everything. But to win at the cost of your own life is highly inadvisable. Zhuo Fan shook his head, but smiled. Get ready, it's our turn soon. The rest had fire burning in their eyes. The now huge black dragon image above finally clashed with the golden pillar. Bam! The resulting explosion was like the aftermath of a bomb. The pillar shook under the point-blank impact, slowly getting riddled with cracks. With a snap, it fell apart and dissolved into flickers of light. While the black dragon was relentless in its pursuit for Huangpu Fenglei. Boom! Huangpu Fenglei felt his brain explode and an excruciating pain riddling his heart. Spitting blood, he slammed the ground, his soul in critical state. While his feeble consciousness still held on, he jumped towards Regent Estate. He knew he had lost this fight. Standing around longer would only mean death. Huangpu Fenglei recalled his glorious name as Regent Estate's High Venerable and grief struck him. The fact that he had lost it all in a single move made this grandpa's aged heart rot with sorrow. Old Li, I'll get you for this next time. Li Jingtian had no time to wait that long. His wretched body had already passed the point of no return. He had to fulfill his wish, no matter the price. Blackness exploded from Li Jingtian once again, but so did blood. He bore through the pain as he jumped at Huangpu Fenglei. Ha ha ha, High Venerable, let's settle our grudges. Wraith Style's first move, Soaring Demonic Dragon. We never had any grudges. It's you who is so pig-headed to push it this far. Huangpu Fenglei saw the black figure chase after him and was stunned and puzzled. He noticed Li Jingtian's odd situation. You should lick your wounds first. We have no hatred. So stop forcing yourself to come after me, alright? Huangpu Fenglei felt like crying, unable to make sense of it all. He'd never guessed that Li Jingtian operated on much simpler motivations, to kill him with his own two hands. High Venerable. Huangpu Tianyuan shot forth, bringing joy to Huangpu Fenglei's eyes. Estate Lord. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed golden in the nick of time, cutting Huangpu Tianyuan's timely age short. Zhuo Fan. Huangpu Tianyuan gnashed his teeth. Zhuo Fan grinned. Elder Li is on my side and I will respect any decision he makes. You won't be going anywhere. Humph, we'll just see about that. Huangpu Tianyuan's right hand was enveloped in a golden dragon image for a second before turning into a scaled claw and attacking. The sharp talons whistled through the air. Transformation, Earth Dragon Claw. He knew this move all too well, since he had as well, courtesy of his own dragon soul. So Zhuo Fan responded with the same coin. Clang! The clash resulted in screeches grating the ears of others. The two separated, finding the clash even. Zhuo Fan beamed. So you did train in 9 Dragons' diamond body. But that can't be all that a legendary Earth-ranked martial art can do, right? Ha ha ha, Zhuo Fan, this is all thanks to the Bodhi root you got for us. But I won't be going easy on you. You are destined to die today. Is that so? Zhuo Fan chuckled, followed by a shifty smile. Chapter 445, King Against King. Chapter 445, King Against King. Estate Lord, save me. Seeing the manic Li Jingtian fast approaching, Huangpu Fenglei swallowed his pride and begged for help. But with Huangpu Tianyuan and Zhuo Fan doing the tango, help was on hold. To settle this battle, all Huangpu Tianyuan had to do was squash Zhuo Fan. And with the target right in front of him, victory was not something the life of a High Venerable could outweigh. Safe to say, High Venerable's cries for help went unanswered. Leng Wuchang had a contingency set for just this possibility, calling for the rest to move in. Zhuo Fan had the Estate Lord blocked, but what about the others? Dozens of Radiant Stage cultivators and Profound Heaven experts shot for Huangpu Fenglei. Regent Estate's 20-plus venerables were even faster. Anyone would panic when their boss life was on the line. Zhuo Fan moved seeing the crowd and Huangpu Tianyuan stepped in to block him. Zhuo Fan chuckled, not minding it in the least. Whoosh! Others would handle the Radiant Stage rescue party, not to worry. The power couple and the 4 scheming demons, with a few Radiant Stage experts from their 3 allies, moved in. While Yuanshan's team of Profound Heaven experts was facing Grandmother's team. It was Zhuo Fan's plan and his order. No one was to interfere in Elder Li's fight. Leng Wuchang took in the new battlefield and sighed, no matter the outcome of today's battle, High Venerable's life is forfeit. Li Jingtian arrived at last upon his target, the black aura having reached its peak. Huangpu Fenglei paled. With the rescue team up a creek, he was left to fend for himself. Shouting, he shone golden once more, roaring, Li Jingtian, don't test me or I'll fight you to the death. Ha ha ha, just what I want. Li Jingtian turned into a black dragon as it went head first. Boom! Black and golden glows clashed, shaking the world around them and turning many heads. As the dust settled and smoke rose, the bloody figures became visible. Li Jingtian was soaked in blood, his chest was caved in, vessels had burst and bones were snapped. His eyes, however, held that look of joy, of pride. Huangpu Fenglei was as pale as a sheet of paper, his pupils dilated and half of his body laid shattered, with vague signs of life. Half of his face shuddered, expressing a contorted and grisly image of unbelievable despair. He ran unchecked over Tianyu for 100 years and never conceived it humanly possible for the day to come when he'd lose in such a wretched and nasty way. Li Jingtian, we have no hatred. Why must you be so obsessed with my death? Words slipped out of Huangpu Fenglei's stiff face. Coughing from the pain in his chest, Li Jingtian's smile never left him. Huangpu Fenglei, today you lost to me in 3 moves. In your blind arrogance, you once said to me that I was of poor talent, only worthy to be behind you. You were strong then, shaking me to the core as I looked up to you as my role model. But 30 years passed while I trained Imperial Tyrant body art to the 7th stage only to have my cultivation cut short by your refusal. Saying that I'm not worthy to pursue the complete art. When I argued, you beat me up in 1 strike. Then you said that I've reached my limit, and no matter which cultivation method I train in, it'd all be wasted on me and I'm not fit to follow you. Ever since that day I've only been a mere guest venerable, an outsider to your venerable circle. And seeing those nondescript Regent Estate venerables training in the full cultivation method, I could never accept this. Even more so when you said that I have reached my limit. I never cared for being an outsider at all. From then on, you have always been my rival and I vowed to myself to defeat you one day. That day has come, ha ha ha. Li Jingtian spluttered blood. Huangpu Fenglei felt like crying. Li Jingtian, you narrow-minded fool, you've held on to that trifling event till now? To you it may be pointless, but to me it was unforgettable. My path has no end and no one alive can say otherwise, not even you. Li Jingtian shouted through the pain. Huangpu Fenglei sighed, it is my mistake, my. His eyes closed, his face twitched and relaxed. He had let go of all hatred, finding peace. Li Jingtian showed a confident smile. High Venerable Huangpu Fenglei was a man who would put honor above all, but he admitted in the end that he was wrong about Li Jingtian. Because Li Jingtian had beaten him, that too in less than 10 moves. Li Jingtian's cultivation was far from over. Closing his eyes, Li Jingtian collapsed. Xie Tiansheng appeared beside him, helping him up. He only relaxed after sensing his breath. As a fellow martial fanatic, the headstrong Li Jingtian was a prime example. He hoped for one day to beat his own rival. Xie Tiansheng's eyes flashed as he looked at Zhuo Fan, shouting, Zhuo Fan, Elder Li is fine. Only blacked out from the wounds. Xie Tiansheng took Li Jingtian away. Zhuo Fan relaxed, but Xie Tiansheng's look had him stunned. Why does it feel like he's looking at me like an enemy? Aren't we allies? Zhuo Fan smiled dejectedly and turned to Huangpu Tianyuan, Elder Li and Huangpu Fenglei's battle has reached its end. Our top general's fight now has a conclusion carrying a sad tone with it. What sadness? As kings vying for the crown, power is everything. Huangpu Fenglei died because he was weaker. I'm not sad, so why should you be? Huangpu Tianyuan snorted. Zhuo Fan sighed, I am not sad about your high venerable. Elder Li's story has moved me. A story about someone posing for decades, of how his showboating cracked at the seams in his final moments. It's true what they say, posers get thunderstruck. He got what he deserved. Shouldn't Steward Zhuo take heed then, having the same style? Huangpu Tianyuan quipped. Zhuo Fan scratched his nose and nodded, yeah, after Elder Li's lesson, I think it's best to not only kill those posing in front of me, but also those I'm posing to. Now that you mention it, Estate Lord Huangpu, have I ever posed with you around? Always, but can you kill me? Huangpu Tianyuan raised a taunting eyebrow. Zhuo Fan looked him right in the eye as the calm gave way to endless bloodthirst. He flashed in his enemy's face, right hand glowing red. Huangpu Tianyuan found the punch already on his chest, reacting only as he was sent flying. Rumble. Huangpu Tianyuan slammed into 3 mountains, cutting them down to size. Huangpu Tianyuan ended up buried under all the rock slides. Zhuo Fan's grin contorted, I've yet to meet anyone who I've wanted dead but who has survived. Estate Lord. Regent Estate's side shuddered restless. But there was no sign of movement from the rubble. Just as everyone started to believe that he had kicked the bucket in one hit, an eerie cackle came, Hi, Zhuo Fan, is that all your mighty punch can muster? Zhuo Fan deadpanned, sure enough, 9 Dragons' diamond body isn't just a fancy name. Now let us begin our fight, king against king. Chapter 446, Unbreakable Diamond Body. Chapter 446, Unbreakable Diamond Body. Roar. Dragonic cries echoed from the rubble, 8 of them. The dust around glittered as a golden glow reflected off it, flooding the entire sky. The thick dust had no chance at containing the mighty light show. Zhuo Fan watched the display, fully on guard for anyone or anything that might jump at him. Bam! The rubble pile made of 3 ruined mountains erupted, sending rocks around at breakneck speeds. It took just a blink for the faint figure within that rubble to go from there, to over here. The sight of it sent everyone gasping. Calling it a human was putting it mildly. It had the head of a dragon, for sharp talons designed to claw the heavens, covered in scales and with a steel-like whip to boot. That thing was a man-eating savage beast. 9 Dragons' diamond body, full body transformation, unbreakable diamond body. Zhuo Fan gasped. Huangpu Tianyuan cackled, this is the pinnacle of dragon transformation. For dragon souls have become earth dragon claws, 1 earth dragon body, 1 earth dragon head and the last, earth dragon tail. Zhuo Fan, you only have 2 strong arms, of which only one is an earth dragon claw. You stand no chance against the might of this unbreakable diamond body. He, you're finished. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes shined with bloodlust. Regent Estate's side got fired up. Except for Regent Estate's venerables, everyone was in the dark about Estate Lord Huangpu's newfound power focused on dealing with Zhuo Fan alone. The worry of how to deal with an exemplary freak like Zhuo Fan was now gone, giving way to confidence. Estate Lord's indifference at High Venerable's death became obvious now. He had upgraded himself to the ranks of freaks. Regent Estate's morale was at an all-time high, with victory in sight. While this had the opposite effect on Drifting Flowers edifices, Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquis Abode's side. It went beyond their predictions for Huangpu Tianyuan to come fully trained in 9 Dragons' diamond body. That made relying on Zhuo Fan to score a win for them somewhat problematic. Anxiety was building. Only Zhuo Fan was casual. Of the 9 dragon vein souls, 1 was his and the 8 were right in front of him. But this guy has only used 7 in his transformation. Is there perhaps one more transformation? What will he turn into then? Taking in Huangpu Tianyuan's monstrous visage, Zhuo Fan failed to see what other transformation could be added to it. He took this as a warning sign for what may come. The last dragon's soul may very well be the move to kill me. All the more reason he had to force the enemy to reveal it, create a counter for it and win this thing. Zhuo Fan flicked his arms, Earth Dragon Soul, transformation. Roar. The roar came from Zhuo Fan's left hand, glowing bright gold and revealing the same claw that Huangpu Tianyuan had 3 to spare. His right hand turned red as well, bringing out the power of Qilin Arm and Earth Dragon Claw. Huangpu Tianyuan opened his sharp maw in a taunting laughter, he, like I said, you only have the Earth Dragon Claw while I have the unbreakable diamond body. It's time I bring back the 9th dragon's soul where it belongs. Huangpu Tianyuan was upon Zhuo Fan in a blink. Zhuo Fan widened his eyes at the sheer speed, just short of shift. He clawed with his left arm on instinct. Clang! The 2 Earth Dragon claws screeched on contact, locked in place. Grinning, Huangpu Tianyuan revealed a savage look while holding Zhuo Fan's left arm busy. Zhuo Fan was clear on his plan, wanting to turn this into a contest of raw power. And with the old guy's entire body prepped and primed, like Gu Santong's, he had no weaknesses. While beside his 2 beast fists, Zhuo Fan was all human. Even after the grueling refining, it fell short to an Earth Dragon's body. That made a contest of strength the worst choice. Something Huangpu Tianyuan insisted on. Snickering, Huangpu Tianyuan had Zhuo Fan's Earth Dragon Claw busy while using another claw to slam his brainpan. Bam! This time the clashing sound came from the impact between Zhuo Fan's right arm with the Earth Dragon Claw. The pitch-black eyes looking at him dead in the eye made him clench his teeth. I am more than clear on your left arm, though I am curious, how did you get your right arm to match the Earth Dragon Claw? He, quite a fine specimen. I guess I'll just have to rip it out of your cold dead body. Huangpu Tianyuan's mouth revealed rows of fangs. Zhuo Fan snorted, Estate Lord Huangpu, your sons were naive, and you're no different. If my head was such an easy target, I'd have long since lost it by now. But where the Emperor and Gu Santong failed, do you think you'll succeed? He, that only makes it vintage, becoming my life's prized trophy. Huangpu Tianyuan laughed, his left Earth Dragon Claw tightening on Zhuo Fan's Qilin arm. Zhuo Fan fumed inside. He tensed his arms to get away, but found them in a vice. Huangpu Tianyuan laughed, even if you use an Earth Dragon Claw like me, I am a peak radiant stage cultivator, while you are a stage short. Now that you're going nowhere and your arms are locked, you're like a gimp. But even without these 2 arms, I can still take your life. Huangpu Tianyuan unhinged his jaw and bit on Zhuo Fan's head. The whistling wind between those sharp fangs made Zhuo Fan shiver. His allies were shaking with worry. Zhuo Fan was pinned down and had no place to dodge. Huangpu Tianyuan had to just clamp down, cutting short his life and this war. Zhuo Fan squinted, his brow soaked, waiting for the last moment as he stared into the mouth of darkness and found the toothed decay of logic festering therein, before ducking his head. Bam! The snap of those fangs rattled the ears of everyone while almost blowing out Zhuo Fan's eardrums. It was a testament to its savage power. Zhuo Fan sighed relieved, unlike the tense audience. He had made a lucky escape, but his position was still very much precarious. His hands were still in deadlock, making him easy picking for the monster looming above. Zhuo Fan struggled, but those arms just wouldn't budge. Huangpu Tianyuan toyed with him, he, Steward Zhuo, everyone reaches their end and today it's yours. You dodged my bite from above, but how will you escape when I attack from below as well? Huangpu Tianyuan opened his mouth again as the tail whipped at Zhuo Fan. The shrill sound that tail made as it traveled stung his mind and vexed his heart. It was more than capable of splitting his head down the middle. But dodging it would put him right between those fangs. Zhuo Fan was pushed into a corner. Luo clan was worried for him, their hearts in their throats. They wanted to come to his rescue, but with how not even Zhuo Fan could overpower Huangpu Tianyuan, their odds were slim at best. Regent Estate's allies had it better, everyone smiling at Zhuo Fan's plight. They'd see the hatred for their ancestors' desecration be repaid in full. Estate Lord Huangpu reigned supreme. Yuan Shan and others got to an early celebration. But in the face of such a problem, while tied and facing the jaws of death, Zhuo Fan showed no fear. Maybe his flashing right eye had something to do with it. Chapter 447, Stompia. Chapter 447, Stompia. Divine Eye of the Void's first stage, Shift. Whoosh. Zhuo Fan appeared 100 meters away just as Huangpu Tianyuan chomped down with another resounding snap. The tails swept in tandem, cutting the air with such force, a shockwave flew at a lonely hill a kilometer away, whipping it out of existence. The people tensed up at the overbearing display of power. The slightest twitch from that tail will have any one of us gone from this world, just like that hill. Zhuo Fan's eyes were fixed on the ghastly creature, rejoicing at his timely escape. He had Divine Eye of the Void to thank for the lucky break. Alert as he was against 9 dragons' diamond body, facing it was still deadly. The earlier display was enough to make his skin crawl. That's what got him so confident that he can handle me and Gu Santong once he got the Bodhi root. Zhuo Fan settled his frantic heart with a long breath. Crack. Turning his head, Huangpu Tianyuan's neck let out snapping sounds, mocking, "Ah, almost forgot you have that as well. You're fast, sure, but are you faster than me?" Huangpu Tianyuan flicked his tail and was on Zhuo Fan in a blink. Zhuo Fan saw 2 claws going for his head and the steel tail coming at him again. Zhuo Fan's eye flashed golden again and he was gone. But just as he appeared, Huangpu Tianyuan flicked his tail to be in his face moments later. While Zhuo Fan was popping all over, Huangpu Tianyuan was with him every step of the way, leaving no room to even breathe. Everyone was a bundle of nerves watching them go. It was a first to see the ever-cocky Zhuo Fan being on the run, taking with him the confidence they had in winning this war. With Zhuo Fan on the run, who else was left to deal with Huangpu Tianyuan? Zhuo Fan was overwhelmed as well. No matter where he went, the guy was there to welcome him, putting the squeeze on him more and more. It worked to show that his Divine Eye of the Void had room for improvement, his training lacking. Yuan Shan and the others were overjoyed, grinning from ear to ear. Who? 2 blue wings sprouted from Zhuo Fan's back, sea phantom wings. Their bluish glow spread and Huangpu Tianyuan felt his mind slowing down, his view becoming hazy. But as he had trained in 9 dragons' diamond body, he was a peak radiant stage expert and had the soul to fight back the illusion. But it proved to be a delay enough for experts of Zhuo Fan's caliber. He, this is my chance. Zhuo Fan used this gap to use his red right arm to punch. Bam! Huangpu Tianyuan was blown away. Zhuo Fan's mouth curled up, but then his face froze and trembled, and no way. The mighty Qilin arm actually. Rumble. Huangpu Tianyuan tumbled in the air a few times before getting upright again. He looked at his chest and grinned. There was a faint imprint there, but nothing he couldn't handle. Hi, Zhuo Fan, is that all you could muster after finally catching me open? Humph, that barely even tickled. Huangpu Tianyuan cackled, with his allies tooting their horns in tandem. Drifting Flowers edifices and the rest were only getting glum. Huangpu Tianyuan was like an unbreakable monster, robbing them of any chance at victory, even if they got lucky enough to take a shot at him. Since besides luck, one had to target his weakness, scoring them the win. But Huangpu Tianyuan didn't have any weaknesses. Zhuo Fan's side was in the pits of despair. Shadow King, Sima Hui and Fang Qiubai, the innocent bystanders close by, were speechless. We all sensed Huangpu Tianyuan was reborn, but never imagined he'd train in 9 dragons' diamond body. Zhuo Fan can't do anything. Shadow King sighed, if this keeps up, it'll be Regent Estate's victory. And Huangpu Tianyuan becomes our greatest threat. Sima Hui sighed, we would have lent the Luo clan a hand earlier if we had known. But now Huangpu Tianyuan has an overwhelming position and this will only make dealing with him harder. The others nodded and Fang Qiubai said, Gu Santong may be the only one who can fight him. But ever since he went after Zhuo Fan, the bugger has gone missing. Maybe Zhuo Fan finished him off. Shadow King snorted, the kid is tough, but a child at heart. With Zhuo Fan's schemes, even being weaker he'd have supreme advantage. It'd be simple to kill him in some way or another. Without Gu Santong, how are we supposed to deal with Huangpu Tianyuan? We were supposed to work with Huangpu Tianyuan to nab Zhuo Fan, and then get him later. But now, even if we team up with Zhuo Fan, the 9 Dragons' diamond body isn't easy to surmount. All we can do is watch. His Majesty's plan already has deviations. Sima Hui sighed. Shadow King nodded, don't be so sure. We still have 2 more people. Who? Sima Hui asked. Shadow King's eyes flashed in anger, His Majesty's 5 divine dragons are real and he does have 2 experts back in the imperial capital. They were tasked to constrict Gu Santong, but by the looks of things, they'll be going against 9 dragons' diamond body. What? The 2 cried. These 2 divine dragons were in the dark about this, while Shadow King knew them quite well judging by his tone. Shadow King smiled at their bewilderment and recalled out loud, they're old friends of mine, in a way, and more than worthy to be called divine dragons. It's natural to not know about them since you came later. Wouldn't you have been quicker to leave His Majesty's side otherwise, knowing he'd be defenseless? The 2 exclaimed. It's all part of His Majesty's plan. But they've been by his side for so many years yet the Emperor not once let it slip about the extra 2 divine dragons. It went to show how uneasy he felt about them. The 2 sighed, souring inside. Back to Zhuo Fan, he glared at his enemy, plans running wild in that head of his. His right arm shone brighter. He, still won't give up. Stop wasting time, I am invincible. You can struggle all you want but your destiny is to lie dead at my feet. Zhuo Fan, there's no getting out of this one. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes flashed with savagery. Zhuo Fan snickered, flicking his shining red arm, who can tell? Since my punch does nothing, I'll just have to stomp ya. Stomp? Huangpu Tianyuan glanced at his legs in derision, you only have powerful arms. You think your puny legs can do what your arms can't? We won't know until we try, humph, Zhuo Fan's twisted smile came. Huangpu Tianyuan's common sense was tingling, but seeing how Zhuo Fan's latest tricks were for naught, he had stopped paying it any attention. No matter how sly and slippery Zhuo Fan was, in the face of true power, it was all moot. Huangpu Tianyuan swished his tail and shot for Zhuo Fan. The latter used shift to pop 100 meters above. Huangpu Tianyuan flicked his tail to go after him, just as Zhuo Fan's mouth curled into a creepy smile, his red right arm smashing down at him. Huangpu Tianyuan scoffed, using an earth dragon claw to block. On contact, the red fist exploded in size, changing its shape from a fist into a spiritual beast's hoof. In the face of the rippling winds, the ridiculous power and boundless might, Huangpu Tianyuan knew he had fallen for it good. With Zhuo Fan coming from above and him from below, it was far too late to dodge. The red hoof even brought along a sense of danger. He hated himself for not keeping his guard up around this punk. Zhuo Fan was laughing, Huangpu Tianyuan, I'll trample those old bones of yours. Tangible projection, soaring Qilin leg. Chapter 448, Returning Dragon's Roar. Chapter 448, Returning Dragon's Roar. Elite Coder. Bam! It looked like a hunk of rock was coming down as the red Qilin leg impacted Huangpu Tianyuan's face, stomping down hard enough to crack something, going by those sounds. Huangpu Tianyuan put up all 4 claws, but nothing had any damn use in stopping it. He kissed the ground so hard the shock wave engulfed the battlefield. Many experts spat blood from it, taking some much-needed safety distance. The dust rose and covered both of them. As the dust settled, light showed a horrifying scene. Zhuo Fan's right arm had turned into a 100-meter-tall blood-red pillar. It stood upright and tall as it held up the sky. Zhuo Fan was so tiny next to it, making the contrast sharper on how a human being could release such a pillar. Shadow King's side was dumbstruck. Just when they thought they'd seen it all, Zhuo Fan had to get freakier with an even crazier move. That's what he meant by stomping. He has a third leg. But what kind of savage beast has such power? Staring at the 7th-level spiritual beast wings on Zhuo Fan's back and at the hoofed right arm, it got them wondering. How many inhuman parts does he have? Monster. They all thought of it, gulped and shook with fear. Zhuo Fan was still within the limits of a human monster up till now, but he had gone beyond with this display. No one there took this conclusion as a good thing. Drifting Flowers edifices, Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquis abode jumped in fright, albeit happy at the reversal. He finally had the upper hand against the 9 dragons' diamond body. His advantage was directly proportionate with their odds at winning this war. Yuanshan's side slumped, their hearts a mess. Just a minute ago, they were hollering that Huangpu Tianyuan had surpassed the freaky Zhuo Fan. Only to find out that Zhuo Fan was in fact a human-faced monster. How do you top that? You can go full Earth Dragon for all I care, you still can't take even one of his hits. Yuanshan's side found their earlier confidence maybe just a tiny bit premature. Every single move of Zhuo Fan is filled with mystery and tricks. You can't take him down so easily. Zhuo Fan had better things to do than to mind them, like smiling evilly. The Qilin leg stuck deeper into the ground, compressing hundreds of meters into a mere dozen. Yuanshan and Regent Estate's venerables felt like crying. Unknown as was the fate of their estate lord under that hoof, but now they wondered if there'd even be a corpse left. If you go on trampling any more, we won't even find a bone left. That's just barbaric. Zhuo Fan's belief was that true ruthlessness grasped certain victory. Crack. Zhuo Fan just kept on pushing, snapping the bedrock like twigs. Each sound only helped drive fear and dread into Yuanshan and allies. Drifting Flowers edifice's side was glad Zhuo Fan had made a comeback, but even they found it hard to see him still going at it. Dude, take it easy. Do you have to turn him into a bone meal? Zhuo Fan's capacity for cruelty was only in relation to Huangpu Tianyuan's danger. He wouldn't leave the enemy the slightest chance. He had to finish him off. This ought to do it. Zhuo Fan's arm glowed red and returned to being an innocent arm. Peering into the hole, he was speechless. The bedrock was turned to powder under the Qilin leg's power. And a man everyone knew rested in the middle of all the sand. Albeit cracked all over, with blood leaking, it was safe to say that he was barely breathing. He's still alive despite Qilin leg's full power. Zhuo Fan gasped. Everyone had witnessed the might of the Qilin leg, and now they bore testament to the tough 9 dragons' diamond body. The guy's freakin' tough. Cough. Blood spewed with every motion, from his nose and mouth, ears and eyes, but Huangpu Tianyuan got his feet under him, laughing. Zhuo Fan, I definitely didn't see that one coming. But even with that killer move, you still can't take me down. To hell with you and your body. You're now broken and wounded. Since I couldn't kill you with the Qilin leg the first time, the second attempt will finish you off. Humph, you're half dead. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed. Huangpu Tianyuan only laughed harder, half alive is more like it. Did you forget already? My 9 dragons' diamond body has reached this step with the help of Bodhi root. It's not just tough, but unbreakable. Huangpu Tianyuan made a sign and barked, 9 dragons' diamond body, 8th dragon's soul transformation, returning dragon's roar. Roar. Under the shocked looks of everyone, a green dragon's soul shot out of his body and roared as it circled above him. Green lights fell upon him, healing him to perfection, not even leaving a scar as the scales knit back together. When the dragon's soul returned back inside, he was now the very picture of health. Zhuo Fan's eyes trembled in shock. The ascending dragon fused with the Bodhi root, and gets this bastard back to full health every time he's damaged. Adding that tough body into the mix and you'd have an indestructible killing machine. Zhuo Fan frowned. Shadow King's side was keyed up. Huangpu Tianyuan's outrageous power blew their minds. How were they going to beat that? Even if Gu Santong steps in, not even he can do anything. With this old monster healing back whenever, no one can beat him. Feng Qiubai shook his head. What about the other two divine dragons, can they do it? Shadow King said, all I know is that they can handle Gu Santong, but cannot kill him. I reckon Huangpu Tianyuan falls in the same category. As long as there's a way, we'll just think about killing him later. Sima Hui muttered. Huangpu Tianyuan stretched his limbs in taunt to Zhuo Fan above, yet the man was calm and cool. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed and he punched with his right arm again. Since I have no way to finish him off yet, I'll stall him. Torturing him is better than nothing. And who knows, maybe a way to kill him will come out of it. Classic delaying tactic. First bind the enemy, then get some time to think. It was such an obvious choice that even Huangpu Tianyuan could see it. So he retaliated with a flick of his tail and jumped out. Boom! Zhuo Fan's leg smashed the ground, but not Huangpu Tianyuan. Frowning, Zhuo Fan sighed inside. And of course it never goes as planned. He only got Huangpu Tianyuan the first time because of how close they were in having the element of surprise. But Huangpu Tianyuan was a fast learner. He had to keep some distance and that speed of his was enough to stay clear. What was even worse was that Huangpu Tianyuan wasn't a cocky old coot like he acted, but was cautious instead. The worst enemy was a cautious one. Zhuo Fan sighed. Coming out empty with the enemy on guard, left Zhuo Fan in truly dire straits. Case in point, he didn't have the time to take back his Qilin leg as a bloody maw came from behind. Zhuo Fan, now it's my turn, ha ha ha. Chapter 449, Qilin Shield. Chapter 449, Qilin Shield. With a roar of laughter, a sharp sound came from behind Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan used his left arm to fend it off as his right arm returned to normal size for receiving the next blow. Zhuo Fan's red hand was now holding a tail. But he wasn't out of the woods yet, as Huangpu Tianyuan's second claw came for him. With both hands busy and being unable to use Divine Eye of the Void at such short notice, Zhuo Fan resorted to using his wings as a cover. Rip! The Earth Dragon's claw pierced them like paper, soaking him in blood. Zhuo Fan's brow trembled with pain, yet he was covered with sweat. At least the Sea Phantom wings were from a 7th-level spiritual beast and were tough enough to hold the Earth Dragon's claw back with the both of them. Zhuo Fan's wings trembled, giving his all to resist. Huangpu Tianyuan opened his mouth as the claws and tail struggled in their confinements. Zhuo Fan needed the slightest distraction and his head would roll. The sight of Zhuo Fan getting pushed back got everyone tense. He couldn't do anything but be on the receiving end. It was hard to believe Huangpu Tianyuan was just that strong with his 9 dragons diamond body. Zhuo Fan was only in the profound heaven stage and even his 2 beast arms weren't enough to save him from a hard time. Blast it! I can only retreat. Zhuo Fan sighed, not liking it one bit as his eyes shined golden. Huangpu Tianyuan could see it clear as day that he wanted to hightail away from the battle. With Zhuo Fan's cunning, falling for his tricks once was bad enough. He had to finish him off now, when he had the upper hand. Who knew what this guy might cook up the next time around? Zhuo Fan was weak here and now, but his endless bag of tricks made him unpredictable. If by some miracle he escapes this time, it'd be even harder to beat him next time. And he needed to deal with Zhuo Fan fast. There was the imperial family to consider as well. Leaving Zhuo Fan alive now would be cutting his own feet in his fight with the imperial family. This has to end now. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes flashed with bloodlust, making even Zhuo Fan shiver. But that wasn't important, as the golden halo in his eye promised safety. Ha ha ha, Huangpu Tianyuan, since I can't beat you, we'll be sure to meet again. Zhuo Fan snickered as he poofed away. The ripple was faint, and where a peak radiant stage expert might fail to pick it up, a 9 Dragons diamond body could. His creepy ears flinched and Huangpu Tianyuan mocked, Hi, fat chance, Zhuo Fan. 9 Dragons diamond body, Earth Dragon wave. Roar. Huangpu Tianyuan howled at a spot 1,000 meters away. A beam of yellow shot from his maw, just as Zhuo Fan appeared, panting. Zhuo Fan cried inside, but it was too late. Boom! The explosion shone bright and Zhuo Fan caught the yellow pillar right in his chest. He paid a summary visit to the bowls of 5 mountains before being buried under their rubble. There was so much dust that it formed a hurricane. It soon cleared and revealed everything in ruins. A red trail came out of the rocks like a bloody spring, and robbed any hope of Zhuo Fan being alive. Steward Zhuo, Qiu Yanhai and the rest panicked. Drifting Flowers edifices and Veiled Dragon Pavilion were also worried. Huangpu Tianyuan mocked, Dragon Vein Soul is a guardian spirit of the lands. Since I train in the 9 Dragons diamond body and am also in the Earth Dragon form, I can pick up any changes in the area. Messing with space around me is like painting a target on your back. That Earth Dragon wave is my true power. Not even the Earth Dragon claw can handle it, to say nothing of getting hit squarely in the chest. He's dead beyond any doubt. Huangpu Tianyuan is invincible. Yuanshan's side cheered. While the Luo clan paled, their hope seeping out of them like the blood from those rocks. Huangpu Tianyuan's declaration wasn't just to brag. Steward Zhuo had the worst luck this time. But without him, what were they supposed to do? Despair set in faster than they could accept it. Huangpu Tianyuan only had eyes for Zhuo Fan. To a peak radiant stage expert, only he mattered, the rest were mere flies. As long as Zhuo Fan died, everything else would be foregone conclusion. He had a firm grasp at victory already. Fang Qiubai sighed, lamenting and shaking their heads. A mighty character like Zhuo Fan ended up getting one shot by Huangpu Tianyuan. This power is outrageous. Sima Hui watched the monster with fear. Shadow King sighed, 9 Dragons diamond body having a tough body was bad enough, but with the Bodhi root, he's invincible. He's worse than Gu Santong. I wonder if those two and I can fight him off. Senior, that's not all. When Gu Santong wrecked Tianyu, he did it alone. His fists were too few to handle so many and ended up limited. But Huangpu Tianyuan wants the world, he has both an army and power. It will be far harder than Gu Santong. Fang Qiubai said. The others considered and sighed again. The battlefield turned quiet, with all fighting stopped and everyone turned towards Huangpu Tianyuan. Either in fear or joy or respect. But to Huangpu Tianyuan, neither allies nor enemies mattered. Ever since killing Zhuo Fan, he understood one thing from those worshipping gazes. Allies or enemies meant nothing, only ultimate power mattered. With enough power no one could touch him. With enough power no one would question him. Ha ha ha. Laughing, Huangpu Tianyuan flew to Zhuo Fan's tomb, roaring, Zhuo Fan, it's time you return the last dragon soul. I want to reach the ethereal stage, becoming the first in Tianyu. Before reaching the mound, a wave from the rubble caught him first. Huangpu Tianyuan halted, looking in the sky, Zhuo Fan, how are you still alive? Zhuo Fan was up there the next moment, albeit pale, bloody and out of breath. His chest sported an extra large hole as well. How convenient that it never went through him completely. He was only heavily wounded, but still alive. Qiu Yanhai's side sighed. Zhuo Fan's very existence kept hope alive. What trick did you pull? That Earth Dragon wave had the power of 8 dragon souls. Those hands might have saved you, but anywhere else it hits, it'd run through you and blast you apart. Even if you used the 2 arms to defend, the shock would have wrecked your body. How is it that you're barely wounded? Huangpu Tianyuan cried foul. Zhuo Fan snickered, humph, while you have the Earth Dragon Wave, I have the Qilin Shield. Don't think you can write me off in one hit. Zhuo Fan looked at the red glow over him in joy. As luck had it, from refining the Qilin arm into his body, it even released a red shield. It was the same red cover he saw back in Lightning Canyon, the soaring Qilin's defense. With how not even Heavenly Emperor's purple lightning could pierce it, how could anything else? Zhuo Fan was badly hurt by the impact with the Earth Dragon Wave and not the subsequent shocks. Or he'd be in pieces by now. Zhuo Fan sure was glad that he made the trip to Lightning Canyon. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes grew savage. Zhuo Fan was playing too close to the now hollow chest, with too many skills. Dread started pouring in, thinking of the future. Zhuo Fan snickered, this round is yours. We'll be seeing ya. His wings carried his broken body away. Huangpu Tianyuan roared after him, where do you think you're going? Your head stays right here. The 2 were gone in a blink. The battlefield was filled with dumb faces, with the commanders gone, what are we supposed to do? Leng Wuchang shouted all of a sudden, damn it, it's Zhuo Fan's trick. Fall back. Chapter 450, Poisoners Collide. Chapter 450, Poisoners Collide. What's wrong, Sir Leng? The enemy's morale is weakened. How can we retreat now? Yu Wanshan asked. Leng Wuchang's mood was heavy, pondering before speaking, I am not too clear myself, but this situation reminds me of the fight in the esoteric debate. The House Lord's heart seized. You can also feel it, right? Zhuo Fan was on the ropes, with no way out, but we all know how that turned out. Leng Wuchang's heart thumped. Yu Wanshan stood dumbstruck and fearful, turning utter defeat into complete victory. Sir Leng, are you saying this time as well he? No. He's clearly wounded, defenseless, routed. Yu Wanshan refused to believe, but still droned, though the same happened to him in the esoteric debate. No, he had it far worse then. Yet he still won, breaking Huangpu Qingtian's team and torturing them to death. Sir Leng, do you mean today's defeat is a trap? Yen Bagong shuddered. Since the esoteric debate, Zhuo Fan's savagery had left him traumatized. In any case like this one, the enemy was left for dead, waiting for them to take their head. But everyone knew Zhuo Fan was an anomaly. As long as there was breath in his body, anything could happen. They've seen it far too many times how Zhuo Fan flipped the tables in the worst cases, and ways imaginable. Leng Wuchang sighed, I am not sure. The kid is one of the few I can't see through. But one thing is certain, Zhuo Fan was defeated today, but even so, he fled. This is a trap to lure the tiger. Everyone shuddered and looked at the 2 armies. Without Huangpu Tianyuan to back them, they were losing ground. In this war, they would end up defeated. With both sides experts around the same level, only Luo clan's fiends stood apart. Not to mention the power couple could waste a regent estate venerable in a blink, each. While the 4 scheming demons could keep 20 of them busy and suffering. If the fight started, they would have heavy casualties. And even if Huangpu Tianyuan made a lucky return, they would only get a bitter victory. And to think that they still had to fight the imperial family, they all found it not worth it. The House Lords glanced at Leng Wuchang and nodded. But they had to get the Luo clan's approval first. Qiu Yanhai and Xue Qingjian showed a creepy smile. Qiu Yanhai roared, brothers and allies of the Luo clan, together now. Let's crush them. Elder Qiu, our morale is low, how? Grandmother cried. Xue Qingjian waved, they say Lady of Steel fears nothing, so why are you so shaky? Don't you see, with the superpowers gone from each camp, the situation is in our favor. Even if it's a bitter victory, it's still a victory, hi hi hi. Grandmother looked at everyone to find it was true. She and the other house lord were too caught up in their despair over Zhuo Fan's loss to see with fresh eyes. With those two freaks out of the mix, they were the strongest. Grandmother eyed her allies. Was it Steward's plan? Ah. The two looked at each other, then nodded. The couple was out of the loop just as well though. Zhuo Fan would never do things half-measured. His loss had to be real, but that wasn't the issue here, instead turning it into a chance at victory. Something Zhuo Fan gave them. To get their spirits up, the power couple had to say it's Zhuo Fan's idea. Grandmother and company got fired up, they fell for Steward Zhuo's trap. Attack! Roar! The depressed Luo clan faction perked up on the fly and roared. In a war, the losing side would technically be down in the dumps. But led to believe it was all part of Zhuo Fan's ingenious and foolproof scheme, and reminded of his sly character, none took his defeat as real and stormed the enemy. The enemy froze, like sitting ducks. Does that mean we fell for his trap? Regent Estate's side turned to the powers that be. But they were now listening to Leng Wuchang's conjecture. They knew it was not like Qiu Yanhai painted it, so how can they still get their spirits up? Those leaders joined them in putting on the same dumbstruck face. Regent Estate faction's morale hit rock bottom, with some even believing that the Estate Lord was now Zhuo Fan's punching bag in a convoluted scheme of his. Estate Lord was tough, but nothing could stand Zhuo Fan's freaky mind games. Wasn't the eldest young master toyed to death in a 4 versus 1 battle? Everyone paled, their hearts sinking and losing all hope. While the other side was roaring to go. Looking at them like a bunch of sheeps waiting for the axe to fall. Yuan Shan cursed, for God's sake. How the hell did it come to this? It's too late to fall back now. They'll hunt us down. It's better to fight. Is Estate Lord Huangpu so dull as to not see such a simple trick? Yeah, how did he get duped by such an old trick? Leng Wuchang sighed. But he knew the truth. Huangpu Tianyuan was never duped, but was only taking a calculated risk. Zhuo Fan was a bigger threat than the fate of this battle. Regent Estate's experts might die here today, but as long as Zhuo Fan fell, it was a win in his book. He was overconfident in his 9 dragons diamond body, thinking of himself as unstoppable. Estate Lord, has the taste of victory gone to your head? Did you forget about Gu Santong 300 years ago? Leng Wuchang sighed. The armies clashed. Rainbow Cloud Palm. Yen Bagong in the lead unleashed his poisoned mist to gain the advantage. But his efforts were met with another poison mist from the Luo clan, pushing it back. 9 poison fantasy palm. Yen Song roared. The mist vanished and appeared every now and then, making defense useless. It not only absorbed the rainbow cloud palm, but even poisoned many experts, to the point that even Radiant Stage experts took a breath of it at some point, getting their power cut. What poison art is that? Yen Bagong stammered. Yen Song snickered, he, Hall Lord, time sure flies, eh. Do you perhaps find Steward Zhuo's 9 poison fantasy palm a bit stronger than Pill King Hall's rainbow cloud palm? Damn traitor, you dare show your face to me? Yen Bagong cursed. Yen Song grinned, Yen Bagong, I never fought you out of respect, but after leaving Pill King Hall, how did you treat my disciple? Today, we'll settle all debts. Debt? The both of you are Pill King Hall's traitors. I will kill you where you stand and cleanse my house. Yen Bagong shot for Yen Song, who did the same. Boom. 2 palms clashed and the poison spread so far that everyone moved 1,000 meters away. They knew the rainbow cloud palm all too well and had no trouble dodging it. But in 9 poison fantasy palm's case, with its endless variations, it was impossible to defend all 81 poisons from seeping in. In seconds, Yen Bagong was riddled with 5 colored spots, poisoned and in pain. As a fellow poisoner, he knew the hellish power this move had. But with how this move was stronger than Pill King Hall's, along with its eerie movements, he failed to stay clear, ending up losing power as he was poisoned. The more he fought the worse it got, and the tears welled. Where the hell did Yen Song get this art? Wasn't Pill King Hall the best in Tianyu when it comes to poison and pills? His face fell as he recalled every Luo clan's expert's unique and amazing art. Yen Bagong knew Zhuo Fan was a monster. Is he a living library or what? How the hell does he come up with so many cultivation methods and even a poison one at that? A damn conniving deceiver. Yen Bagong cursed as his face fell. He knew the poison ran deep within him. Chapter 451, The Turning Specialist. Chapter 451, The Turning Specialist. The armies smashed into each other like floods. The side who pushed the other, who pressed their momentum, would soon gain control over the entire battlefield. A role most suited to a poisoner, especially when it came to wars. Zhuo Fan looked down on poisoners, saying that they were useless in a battle of experts, but when it came to culling, no one was better at it. And in a battle like this, a poisoner was a force to be reckoned with, a veritable grim reaper doing his job as God intended. Yen Bagong knew of his importance, wishing to use this chance to showcase his power. But against the traitorous Yen Song, his chance was gone and he had instead suffered from poisoning himself in a cruel twist of irony. It only worked to shame him further. The great Hall Lord using poison to kill others was now being served the same coin. And Yen Song's poison wasn't limited to affecting him, but Regent Estate faction's experts en masse. If he pulled back now, there'd be nothing left of his name to speak of. Yuan Shan watched the poisoned mist as he retreated. A dozen Radiant stage experts, confident in their strength, pushed through it to take Yen Song down. He had to die for their army to survive. Luo clan's power couple entered the scene midway, pushing these oldies back with miserable faces. And that wasn't even half of it. What got them so wretched and wishing they could tear the two piece by piece, was that Luo clan in its entirety had inherited Zhuo Fan's expert turning skills. With the fall of Hell Valley, Pill King Hall and Merry Woods, Luo clan had bolstered their elder ranks with every fallen house. The venerables and elders who did not crack under Zhuo Fan's masterful silver-tongued promises, ended up as an example for those who did. But some stragglers were bound to have escaped the destruction of the houses and returned to their house lords. It was all good and well, so far. With these new elders being quite close to each other, and Yen Song's poison to clear a path, once Luo clan had the upper hand, they'd follow Zhuo Fan's vile plan into striking their hearts, and not chase a vanquished enemy. When push came to shove, these experts would choose self-destruction, and that would have been a far worse scenario. So before the war started, Zhuo Fan taught them to target their minds, appeal to their compassion and friendship. The best plan so far. And so, within the cruel battlefield, some very touching and sappy reunions cropped up in remote corners. Brother, why you turned over to Luo clan? Hell Valley's third venerable looked at the other in shock. I thought Zhuo Fan had you killed 3. The ex-high venerable of Hell Valley sighed. It's a long story. All in all, we're with the Luo clan now. Zhuo Fan is a tyrant, but as long as you don't anger him, he has quite the respect for us. And he even welcomed us with cultivation methods the likes of which Tianyu has never seen. We are certain that in 50 years we can enter the ethereal stage. What? The third venerable stood dumbstruck. Brother, didn't you say there's no chance for us to reach it with our talent? Ha ha ha, that was earlier, with Hell Valley's limited resources. But after getting to know the Luo clan, I realized that those 7 noble houses are nothing but ignorant whelps. Luo clan has a far bigger legacy than even the imperial family. There are rare ingredients piled up in mountains in countless rings. Vicious Pill King Yen Song's only job is to take some alchemy disciples and bake in the pill house. They even use 6th grade ingredients to raise the success of making just 3rd grade pills, 100,000 of them. A true waste, such money bags. High Venerable praised. Third Venerable was stunned. Why is a third-rate clan so awesome? With their stuff, no one in Tianyu can compare. It's like they've harvested the nation for 1,000 years. High Venerable turned serious. Old Third, we each have our lords. I hate for being the one to hurt you, brother, and can only present you with 3 choices. Leave and live in seclusion far away from here, stay and I will have no choice but to fight you, or join Luo clan and live together with your brothers. That, Third Venerable was conflicted. Since you do not want to join us, I can only hope you'd leave. We 4 have worked together for so many years. I'd hate to see my brother's bloody face. High Venerable shook his head. Third Venerable waved all over the place. Oh, no, 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 elder brother, you're wrong. I just want to ask, are you for real? Third Venerable's eyes shone with greed. Of course, have I ever lied to you in all these years? High Venerable stuck his head out. Old Third, Zhuo Fan is a master tactician and already has a plan in place to handle everything. Did you really think Regent Estate was going to win? Look around you, Luo clan is on a constant rise. Even if Huangpu Tianyuan is strong, he is chasing his grave. There will only ever be Zhuo Fan in this world. He has destroyed all houses in Tianyu, even his allies. High Venerable whispered, Steward Zhuo has set up the Luo clan as the biggest, making it the supreme power in Tianyu. I am not going to lie to you. Come, join us as a new elder. This will be your only chance. What, a single power? Zhuo Fan has such ambition. Third Venerable pondered and nodded. Elder brother, I wish not to ruin our brotherhood and can only hope to stand by your side as we make history. Good, Old Third, I expected nothing less. High Venerable grabbed his palm, taking a vial from his back with a bloodworm inside. Brother, to enter Luo clan, you must take this bloodworm. Ah. Third Venerable found it improper, but from High Venerable's stern look, this was no game. Recalling again the promise of resources from Luo clan, the Third Venerable swallowed it. High Venerable laughed, going together on a nice little trip to Regent Estate to murder the rest of them. The same exchange happened all over the place. Saying it's out of brotherhood and the dangling bait was just too damn good. These guys were homeless anyway, they didn't even have time to worry about resources. Along came the Luo clan extending its gold-plated hand. Who in their right mind would refuse it? As an extra proof of sincerity, it came from old pals. The battle was a few hours in when Yuan Shan and the other lords found something strange. What are the venerables and elders doing, slaughtering their way over? Wasn't it a bit early to come back? And why are there so many of them? Taking a good deal of time to process this, they all came to one conclusion: fall back. Much of a war this turned out to be. The enemy didn't come to kill us, but to turn us. How could they win now? All that was left was for them to turn as well. Leng Wuchang sighed. Zhuo Fan's psychological warfare is otherworldly. Just what did he use to achieve it? There must be something off about this to get so many in such a short time. Back to Regent Estate. We'll think about it then. Leng Wuchang shouted to his faction. Luo clan was hot on their tail. Shadow King's trio watched the odd war with dumb faces. What the hell? What did Luo clan do to them? Isn't it too fast? Shadow King was flabbergasted. Feng Qiubai sighed, if you're looking for a specialist in turning experts, go to Windgaze City's Luo clan and find Zhuo Fan. Shadow King's face twitched. Even with Zhuo Fan away, everything still played by his rules. Regent Estate's victory was based on Huangpu Tianyuan's 9 Dragons diamond body alone, while Zhuo Fan had some tactical counters in place besides just himself. To put it another way, this trick of his had a heavier impact than his strength. In this aspect, Zhuo Fan had Leng Wuchang beat by miles. Again using himself as bait. Feng Qiubai sighed, Zhuo Fan used the same tactic in the esoteric debate with flying colors. While now, he has caught Leng Wuchang unprepared, his schemes working at full power even while he is away. He won in every aspect. In your opinion, was his defeat fake? Shadow King looked at the sky, then he must have a way to deal with Huangpu Tianyuan. I'm really curious about what can possibly hold 9 dragons' diamond body in check. Zhuo Fan's final rivals may very well be us. Feng Qiubai and Sima Hui nodded while flying away to watch the events play out. Chapter 452, Little Qilin's Support. Chapter 452, Little Qilin's Support. Whoosh. A flash of red dotted the sky every now and then, in sync with Zhuo Fan's right eye's golden glow. Right behind him was a yellow light, just missing him with each jump but so fast that no one could identify what it was. Zhuo Fan appeared a mile away, just to see the same yellow light on his trail. He gnashed his teeth, spat blood a few times and went right back to running. Zhuo Fan kept popping up every mile, but no matter what he did, he just couldn't shake his yellow tail. Huangpu Tianyuan was right behind him. 3 whole days, that was how long the two played around. Zhuo Fan's chest hole was still leaking, his face whiter than paper. Yet he never stopped shifting, not even to catch a breath. Even a minute delay would have that freak tearing him a new one. Zhuo Fan shook his head. His only gripe with 9 dragons' diamond body was its capacity to get Huangpu Tianyuan to the ethereal stage once all 9 dragon souls were together. Now that would spell doom for even him. Thus, he just let the old guy have those 8 dragons, reaching peak radiant stage, while thinking that no matter how strong he got, he would be no match for the sacred beast Qilin's leg. With tangible projection, the Qilin arm would be like a strike from the heavens, smashing everything, if not killing him outright. Reality confirmed this truth as well. Huangpu Tianyuan laid twisted under the Qilin leg even with the 9 dragons' diamond body. But out of Zhuo Fan's calculations, the Bodhi root was integrated in the 9 dragons' diamond body to use that returning dragon shtick, and it let him get right back in action. It made his body truly invincible and even left Zhuo Fan speechless on how to counter it. Huangpu Tianyuan didn't give him room to work his brain either, counterattacking and turning this into Zhuo Fan's second life's second loss. First was Gu Santong, of course. Zhuo Fan had to admit, he had come short of 9 dragons' diamond body. And even though he did lose, it did not mean defeat. As the ill-reputed steward of Luo clan directed his allies like a conductor, no one could stand up to those twisted and vile schemes of his. So when this chase was the only option left, he said to hell with honor and left the battlefield in the hands of his most capable peons. He was totally convinced, based on Luo clan's experts and those enticing tricks, that the regent estate would fall. Tricks only effective if Huangpu Tianyuan was out of the picture, even if momentarily. Otherwise the old bag of diamond bones would have been a beacon of hope and the turning would have to be cut short. Who wouldn't be afraid of this freak breaking their melon? Certainly not a fresh traitor. Zhuo Fan just had to get Huangpu Tianyuan away for his devious plan to work. But was the great estate Lord Huangpu gonna take the bait? Just like that? Yep. Zhuo Fan was that certain. For starters, after beating Zhuo Fan, his confidence in his strength exploded to new unseen heights. With Zhuo Fan's seminal value for Luo clan's victory, if he was dead, Luo clan would be done for. If Zhuo Fan was around, no matter how ruined Luo clan would become, or how many times it was beaten, it would still be like grass in spring, sprouting from God knew where, with more power than ever. It was only a matter of time. Huangpu Tianyuan could not let that happen. Zhuo Fan's badly wounded state was the best chance to take him out for good. Secondly, Zhuo Fan was just too damn bright, hiding Luo clan's glow. Each time Regent Estate faced Zhuo Fan, they had suffered great losses. To the point that all of Regent Estate believed that this war was in fact a fight against Zhuo Fan alone. Li Jingtian and other experts were negligible. Besides, the moon shined brighter than any star. Zhuo Fan was just too obnoxious, too outstanding, blinding their dog eyes to the reality in Luo clan's other experts. Even Lin Wuchang fell for it. He only had Zhuo Fan in his sights. If this guy lost, all was over. He focused on getting Huangpu Tianyuan to boost his power, the 9 dragons' diamond body, just to face Zhuo Fan. But Zhuo Fan went against their thinking, leaving the fate of the war in the hands of others, giving Leng Wuchang no plan to counter and forcing him to go on the run. Funnily enough, it wasn't even Zhuo Fan's fallback plan, but just plan B. If he'd wrecked Huangpu Tianyuan back there, he would have been leading the goddamn attack by now instead of running around the place. Zhuo Fan shook his head and sighed, staggering in his flight. Huangpu Tianyuan had given him far greater damage than he had accounted for. I wonder if I can hold on for plan B to complete. Zhuo Fan looked ahead and took a deep breath, cough, just a bit more. Zhuo Fan's right eye flashed again, just as the yellow light behind him whistled close and he felt his head hurt in pain from the sound of the attack. Zhuo Fan blocked with his arms. Bam! He slammed into the rocky ground and in his place was a savage dragon's tail. Ha ha ha, Zhuo Fan, after a 3-day-long chase, you're finally out of steam. Zhuo Fan pulled himself from the pile of rocks, out of breath. Just 20 more miles and I would have made it. But getting away now. Zhuo Fan squinted, noticing his enemy's fixed gaze for any movements, and sighed. It was hard getting out now with his beaten body. But giving himself over was never part of Zhuo Fan's style. Huangpu Tianyuan, did you know that I played you? Your men are being killed just about now. Zhuo Fan mocked. Huangpu Tianyuan laughed. Zhuo Fan, your life is worth 1,000 armies. If they lost because of Luo clan, it only proves they're useless. And I don't take kindly to dead weights around here. But if you die, there'll be no one to stop me. Be it Luo clan or the 7 houses, none will matter at that point, ha ha ha. Huangpu Tianyuan's sharp eyes glinted and he shot for Zhuo Fan with his claws out. Humph, where's that Qilin shield? My claw is about to take your heart. Can your shield take it? Zhuo Fan gnashed his teeth, straining to even lift his arms. He only had the beast arms to rely on. But those hands of his only trembled. Sighing inside, Zhuo Fan knew he was on the brink of collapse from his wounds. Not even his arms could take an attack now. Huangpu Tianyuan was excited. Zhuo Fan, today's your funeral. Cut the bull, I won't die here. Zhuo Fan dredged the last bit of energy to cross his arms. Huangpu Tianyuan smirked, putting more power in his attack, his eyes trembling in joy. The great hero Zhuo Fan, having rained havoc in Tianyu for a decade, would find his end at his hands. For him, who was about to establish his own dynasty, it was the greatest feat of strength. The collision was imminent, unless that red glow coming in from far had something to say about it. It smacked Huangpu Tianyuan away into a hill a mile away, breaking it to pieces. Once his head popped out from the rubble, he saw a pint-sized figure next to Zhuo Fan. His eyes widened and he shouted, "Invincible scamp, Gu Santong." Zhuo Fan laughed at the timely rescue. My life stays with me still. Old Huangpu, you loach, I can't take you down, but this little Qilin of mine will bury you, ha ha ha. Chapter 453, Gu Santong's Awesome Power. Chapter 453, Gu Santong's Awesome Power. Hearing the free laughter from Zhuo Fan, Gu Santong turned to him, enraged at how close he was to the door of death. Dad, who did this to you? Didn't you say we're going to ambush him? I've been waiting for ages. Figured you were done with him and came here to check, but now I see. Zhuo Fan sighed, a miscalculation. The main plan was to cut him off if he fled. But his strength exceeded my expectations and I had to resort to a new contingency, as in, to have you deal with him. But be careful. Don't worry, Dad. Since you've asked for help, I will not disappoint. Gu Santong was fired up, turning a stone-cold face towards Huangpu Tianyuan. Huangpu Tianyuan's face twitched and he shivered. Gu Santong was number 1 in all of Tianyu, his name echoing through the last 3 centuries that no one alive could catch up to. His power was otherworldly, so much so that not even with 9 dragons' diamond body was he confident to take the kid on. Gu Santong and Zhuo Fan were somebodies to be careful around. He had planned on taking them down one at a time, starting with the cunning Zhuo Fan. Gu Santong was outrageously strong, but naive. Once Zhuo Fan fell, he'd finish Gu Santong the same way as last time, with numbers. How was he supposed to know that just when he was about to put Zhuo Fan's head on a pike, Gu Santong would show up? If they teamed up, he'd be worse for wear. Huangpu Tianyuan shouted, "Gu Santong, weren't you ordered to take down the traitor Zhuo Fan? I was just about to take his life, helping you as well. Why then did you save him instead?" "Bullshit, he's my dad. What son out there would help someone kill his dad?" "Humph, you freak of nature dares to hurt my dad and I will get you for this." Gu Santong waved his tiny fist. Huangpu Tianyuan jerked, "What? Why you mean, Zhuo Fan is your father? That's impossible. A godfather is still a father. Got a problem with that?" Gu Santong snorted. That cleared it all up for Huangpu Tianyuan, but it also worked to put him in a heavy mood. He couldn't for the life of him figure out how Zhuo Fan pulled it off, getting this little menace to become his godson. If they teamed up, nothing could stand up to them in Tianyu. More importantly, since when? With Zhuo Fan's guile, he'd be keeping it hidden and cook up a scheme to make Gu Santong chase him when he fell out of grace with the imperial family. Huangpu Tianyuan felt a chill run all over him. If he knew Zhuo Fan even a bit, he was sure the guy would keep his aces hidden for the best occasions. With how everyone scrambled for power, just when he thought he had the lands in his control, this bastard Zhuo Fan ought to be gone from the picture with Gu Santong on his tail but in fact made a tactical retreat to build his forces. And this sudden change would make the enemies underestimate Zhuo Fan and fall for his trick. In the "know yourself and your enemy and you shall be ever victorious," Zhuo Fan had one-upped everyone by hiding Gu Santong away. Huangpu Tianyuan gasped at the implications. Thanks to his lucky stars, he had discovered it before it was too late to suffer at this insidious killer move. He still had the power to turn it around. Huangpu Tianyuan cooled, bloodthirst seethed, and with Zhuo Fan down from his wounds, all that was left was Gu Santong. He just had to beat Gu Santong and he'd have taken two thorns out like nothing. Huangpu Tianyuan's tension flowed out of him and he started rejoicing. The prospects of taking two big shots heads off were looking up, finishing off Luo clan and imperial family in one strike. "Ha ha ha, Gu Santong, I've heard of your almighty power and wished to try it out for myself. Now that there's chaos all around us, allow me to take that invincible title off of you." Huangpu Tianyuan laughed. Gu Santong mocked, "Humph, quite the pair you have there. In the last 3 centuries, there's been no one as stuck up as you, to come talking to me. You 2-bit vermin, wait for me to twist your head. Young Sanzi, his 9 dragons diamond body is tough. Keep in mind." Zhuo Fan advised, but Gu Santong was already off, totally taking the other guy for granted. Huangpu Tianyuan laughed. Bam! The claw and fist collided, shaking the ground around them. The shock wave leveled anything within a mile. Huangpu Tianyuan staggered back 10 steps, while Gu Santong only 5, startled. It was his first time being pushed back when dishing punches. Huangpu Tianyuan was shuddering inside, having newfound knowledge of the extent of Invincible Scamp's power. With 9 dragons diamond body's power backing him, he only got Gu Santong a few steps back. If it were Zhuo Fan, the guy'd be blown away into rubble somewhere by now. Huangpu Tianyuan looked for a way to deal with him. Gu Santong couldn't accept it. He had just used 80% of his power and yet was still pushed back, unlike the time he played around with Zhuo Fan. Gu Santong lifted his cute face and shouted, again. Gu Santong and Huangpu Tianyuan clashed. But this time around, Huangpu Tianyuan didn't take the fist head-on. His claw attack was a feint, jumping back and avoiding the fist, while retaliating with his tail at Gu Santong's back. Gu Santong frowned, flying into a hill and reshaping the landscape. "Ha ha ha, against my tail, even if you're the invincible scamp, you'd still end up bruised. Huangpu Tianyuan laughed at the pile of rubble. Zhuo Fan's eyelids twitched, shaking his head. It wasn't that easy injuring young Sanzi, because he was a sacred beast. But with his simple mind and simple attacks, it was equally simple to whip him. Gu Santong jumped out of the rubble, feeling his back. Ow, that hurt like hell. Blast it, how did he do that? And why is it so hard? Raising his clothes and looking behind him, Gu Santong was unable to see any wound and could only feel around. At least it's not an open wound. What he didn't see, Huangpu Tianyuan did. Staring at his back with a gloomy look, his eyes were popping out. He just used all he had in that lashing, enough to split Zhuo Fan in two. But Gu Santong didn't even have his skin peeled, only a light imprint. What kind of freak is this kid? Huangpu Tianyuan's confidence in beating him hit rock bottom. Before one was to defeat another, you'd best be able to harm him first. But he couldn't do even that. Huangpu Tianyuan felt like a 3-year-old in front of a buffed uncle. His tiny fist could do nothing against that tower of muscle. Zhuo Fan snickered inside. Gu Santong's strength was innate, used to handle everything with his 2 fists. So while Huangpu Tianyuan had no chance to beat him, he did not have the brains to keep Huangpu Tianyuan here either. He reminded him, young Sanzi, this guy just called you an idiot for falling for his whip like a kid. He just doesn't know fear. As if, when did I ever say that? Huangpu Tianyuan glared. He knew Zhuo Fan was playing dirty, to instigate a bigger conflict. As young Sanzi's godfather, of course he'd believe his dad over another. His face steeled and snorted, I'm an idiot. Huangpu Tianyuan gulped, racking his brain for a way out. His eyes lit up. Since claws and tail didn't work, he'd use secret arts. This freak has no weakness. While Gu Santong was firing up his rage, Huangpu Tianyuan shouted, Earth Dragon Wave. Roar! A yellow glow shot for Gu Santong. But the kid just stood there, shining all red. Bam! Earth Dragon Wave slammed into him, but the scene made the other bug-eyed. Gu Santong took the attack and didn't budge an inch. In fact, he was walking towards Huangpu Tianyuan, against the godly might of the 8 dragon souls. He pushed them all back like nothing. Huangpu Tianyuan was dumbstruck, this is insane. The kid is a true monster. Chapter 454, Original Form. Chapter 454, Original Form. You old bag of bones, who are you calling an idiot? Gu Santong stomped the ground with every step, shuddering his heart each time. As for the yellow beam, it got smaller and smaller. Huangpu Tianyuan's mouth was wide open, words stuck in his throat. Gu Santong roared, trembled, and the red light exploded from him. The Earth Dragon Wave just bounced away like a soccer ball. Boom! With a rattling explosion, the attack returned to Huangpu Tianyuan's mouth, throwing him sky-high in a spectacular fashion. Kissing the ground hard once more, his dragon jaw was gone, leaving behind a black hole giving off a thick black smoke. Gu Santong flicked his arm in disdain at the tittering figure, vermin, I can use my head, but there's no one in this world worthy of me doing so, humph. Tyrannical. Zhuo Fan was dumbstruck too. He liked to showboat, and be all cocky, but all his acts were nothing in front of his son's high-class act. Power trumped everything. Who the hell would use their head when their fist was enough? Young Sanzi only looked dull in the head, but he saw through everyone, the real number 1 in Tianyu. And that Qilin shield even reflected such an attack, a soaring Qilin's mighty ability. Young Sanzi, your old man takes his hat off to you. The weak scheme, while the strong punch holes in their schemes. Wonderful, genius. Zhuo Fan sighed, giving Gu Santong a thumbs up. Gu Santong might have just been saying it, but it got him thinking. Zhuo Fan controlled the whole stage, with the imperial family and regent estate moving at his will. He was like a king. while it only showed just how weak he was. Would a mighty tiger lay a trap for a weak little lamb? Obviously not. As the king of beasts, he'd eat anyone that popped in his vision. Why waste time thinking about it? Gu Santong was the same, punching holes in any who stepped up, not wasting time with even martial arts. He was just that strong, pulverizing anyone with a snap. Zhuo Fan spoke honestly, "Young Sanzi, I shall take this lesson to heart. Compared to you, your old man falls short." Gu Santong scratched his head. "Dad, are you praising me?" He, you flatter me. You know, the uncle in Allbeast Mountain Range is praising you as well. That I have much to learn from you, to not be so stubborn. No, it is I who should learn from you. I plot against others for interests alone. But those interests are ephemeral, hardly affecting my own person. While you, nothing chains you, and you can walk the path of the strong. Zhuo Fan sighed. Demonic cultivators are selfish. I used to think it refers to self-interest, or maybe being alone. But that may not be the case. I will have to simplify my demonic path, it seems. Zhuo Fan's heart achieved peace, like a new world had opened to him. Roar! The sudden noise wrestled him out of that marvelous state. Zhuo Fan shuddered, bursting with unbridled rage. For God's sake, I'm having an epiphany here. Can't you break it up a little here, please? He saw Huangpu Tianyuan bursting with green light and his busted jaw was growing under the naked eye. It's that damn returning dragon's roar. Zhuo Fan shouted, "Young Sanzi, this geezer can recover from anything, his body undying. Breaking a few bones won't work, you have to kill him." Gu Santong was watching Huangpu Tianyuan flicking his tail in laughter. "Gu Santong, you may be strong, but you can't kill me. So how about we each go our own way and see each other in the future?" Huangpu Tianyuan cupped his hands and fled. "Future your head. Today is the day you die." Gu Santong was not one to give up, shooting towards him and punching. Boom! Huangpu Tianyuan got buried underground again, into a 100-meter deep hole. His earth dragon head was bleeding, his mind hurting like hell. But he was still alive. With another green glow, his body burst with vitality, patching him up in no time. Gu Santong could hardly believe his eyes. Zhuo Fan frowned in sadness. He's far beneath young Sanzi's power, so much so that 5 strikes should punch his lights out for good. But with that ridiculous returning dragon's roar cheat of his, he'd be back on his feet like a cockroach. Huangpu Tianyuan was still laughing. "Gu Santong, I told you, you can't kill me. You'll only waste your breath. Shut it." Gu Santong roared, "I have crossed Tianyu for so many years and there's nothing alive that I can't kill. Humph, worm, you will now witness the true face of a Qilin." Roar! Gu Santong shone red for a moment before turning into a 30-meter red Qilin. He was back to his original form as a sacred beast, soaring Qilin. He was still young, but the power of the sacred beast radiated out. The entire mortal domain, its spiritual beasts, everything was cowering and wailing. Huangpu Tianyuan shouted, "Gu Santong, what move is this?" "Humph, this is no move, just my true form." Gu Santong showed his sharp fangs. "I am a sacred beast and in this form I can display all my power." He, that punch of mine. That was only 30% of what I can do. Worm, one stomp will nail you dead. Gu Santong trampled and Huangpu Tianyuan slammed into the ground. Boom! With the fall of the red hoof, the world shook and the earth caved. 1,000 meters, then 10,000, soon stretching out for 9 kilometers. While the surrounding 100 miles shook harder than an earthquake, the landscape changed forever. Feng Qiubai's team were rushing over when they felt this impossible power. The shockwave was so great it was hard for even them to take it. What is going on out there? What caused such a power spike? Sima Hui cried. The other 2 shook their heads. Anyway, it's those 2 that are the cause of it for sure. We better take a look, Shadow King advised. The two looked below. Gone were the green meadows and flourishing forest, giving way for endless sands. The two monsters were these spies' main targets for observation. After Gu Santong's stomp, Zhuo Fan crawled out of some hole to watch the aftermath. Welp, that's the real soaring Qilin's leg for you. Albeit a cub, he could still break the world. Zhuo Fan admired a sacred beast's power even more. How else could they be on the same level as the 10 ancient emperors? What got him so envious though was that this power came naturally. It made him look like an ant, impossible to reach. Sigh, why wasn't I born as an awesome beast? Ha ha ha, worm, let's see you come back from that. Gu Santong laughed and lifted his hoof from the broken and bloody Huangpu Tianyuan. Guts, gore and blood spewed up from his mouth. What was even more amazing was that he was still alive, followed by a resplendent green glow. Still alive? Gu Santong was outraged. There's nothing I can't kill. Gu Santong stomped again, with all four this time. 1,000 miles around shook non-stop, with some volcanoes even erupting. But not even dozens of stomps could cut Huangpu Tianyuan's life string, no matter how twisted a mess he became. Gu Santong was fuming, but Zhuo Fan stopped him. Young Sanzi, it's no use. The Bodhi root is too strong, protecting his life. If you can't remove that returning dragon soul, it won't matter how much you stomp, it won't change anything. What do we do now? I want to kill him but I can't. This has never happened in 300 years. I'm boiling mad. Gu Santong was getting pissy. Zhuo Fan snickered, his trademark evil grin getting back in business. Ha ha ha, easy. I got just the thing. And I am quite piqued by those 8 dragon souls as well. Purely academic, of course. Chapter 455, 9 Dragons Combined. Chapter 455, 9 Dragons Combined. Gu Santong was clueless, but Zhuo Fan propped his weak body over, his evil smile looking glorious on his face. The green glow had started by now, filling Huangpu Tianyuan's body with brimming vitality and healing him all over again. Ha ha ha, I am undying. You got nothing on me. Huangpu Tianyuan cackled. Gu Santong was raging again. Boom. Huangpu Tianyuan was stomped into the ground, his face twisted in pain so bad you couldn't even see his features. He may be undying but not pain-free. Young Sanzi's trampling hurt like hell. Not that he minded. He just felt good putting up a tough front in front of peak experts like Gu Santong and Zhuo Fan, seeing how they could do nothing to him. Other than the excruciating pain, he felt peachy. Ha ha ha, you may have joined hands but it doesn't mean squat. Huangpu Tianyuan smiled. Zhuo Fan grinned, taking one step at a time like climbing mountains. He, old codger, don't get ahead of yourself. 9 Dragons' diamond body is but an earth-ranked martial art, far from invincible. Your point? You still can't take me out either way. Unless you enter the ethereal stage and destroy my soul, nothing will work, ha ha ha. Huangpu Tianyuan sneered, looking at them saying, take your best shot. I'll just sit here, waiting. Gu Santong was about to flip out, squeezing harder on the guy with the hoof, but Huangpu Tianyuan just toughed it out. Zhuo Fan still took slow steps over. He placed a bloody hand on the guy's head. Young Sanzi, hold him down good. Zhuo Fan warned. Gu Santong nodded. Huangpu Tianyuan mocked, Zhuo Fan, you're on the verge of collapse with no energy left. What could you possibly do? You couldn't even best me at your peak. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Huangpu Tianyuan laughed, as did Zhuo Fan. Huangpu Tianyuan frowned, I'm mocking your weakness. Why are you laughing? I'm laughing at your ignorance. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed with a black glow and his body released a black energy. The world is filled with countless arts and techniques. Do you think that Bodhi root has truly made your body undying? Humph, feast your eyes on the real world. Even with your 9 dragons diamond body, you'll still have a horrid death. Demon Transformation Art. The black energy flowed through his hand into Huangpu Tianyuan. The rock-solid earth dragon body was stained with pitch-black energy, as it seeped into him, dissolving him, despite how hard the dragon souls fought the invasion. Especially the returning dragon soul, it turned black, as if poisoned. How come? Bodhi root was the essence of life, a panacea for all poisons. Fusing it with the dragon soul would make the returning dragon soul immune as well. Not like he could tell this was no poison, but Zhuo Fan's Yuan Qi built through the demon transformation art. Demon transformation art could assimilate anything and everything, taking all that it had and leaving nothing but dregs. He was putting Huangpu Tianyuan through the same process, robbing him blind, dragon souls included. Zhuo Fan, what the hell are you doing? Huangpu Tianyuan lost his smug attitude. It even contained dread. Zhuo Fan just grinned. Hi, what, he asks. This. Zhuo Fan worked his art and took it all back now. Huangpu Tianyuan felt his power leaving, his Yuan Qi, his breath, even the dragon souls. Everything going into Zhuo Fan. Overwhelmed, Huangpu Tianyuan struggled to get away. With a monster above him, he was going nowhere fast though, made to endure this naked humiliation as the power ebbed from him. Roar! The wail of a dragon shook Zhuo Fan as a dragon's soul entered his body. With the loss of one dragon soul, Huangpu Tianyuan's claw returned to normal. Panicking, Huangpu Tianyuan was horrified. He guessed what Zhuo Fan was doing, but the reality was just that much crueler, of how easy it all came to Zhuo Fan. He had refined them himself, through blood and sweat, yet they jumped ship like it was nothing. What demonic art is Zhuo Fan using to rob me? That dragon soul he got from Huangpu Qingtian was because his life faded away. But Huangpu Tianyuan was very much alive right now. Huangpu Tianyuan's heart was going a mile a minute, yet he did not have the time to mind the doubts, finding himself at death's door. Stop, I say. Humph, old Huangpu, you're so stuck up, so obnoxious, where has all that attitude of yours gone? Zhuo Fan laughed. Huangpu Tianyuan felt like crying, fighting the process with all he had, to no avail. As the dragon souls left him, his body weakened, coming back to his human form. Roar! Roars came from Zhuo Fan this time, wrestling inside him for a way out. Huangpu Tianyuan grasped at his chance at victory. Ha, they aren't refined by you. You may have taken them, but they won't listen to anyone but me. Return them and I promise not to fight you again. We will split the world between us. Huangpu Tianyuan was at a disadvantage and started speaking terms. Zhuo Fan smiled. The world was mine to begin with. Why would I ever share it? Moreover, these earthworms, since I've pulled them out of you, do you think I can't tame them? Zhuo Fan's forehead revealed an azure flame making the dragon souls fall back. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes teared up. He had now lost even his bargaining chip. Zhuo Fan's tricks were that weird and insidious. Regent Estate had a hold of the dragon vein for 1,000 years yet never could get the souls to submit. And Zhuo Fan just showed up and they'd behave like children? Sighing, Huangpu Tianyuan showed a powerless expression of remorse as he thinned out. As the last dragon soul roared, returning dragon soul entering Zhuo Fan, Huangpu Tianyuan became human again, stripped of all arrogance. In another hour, Huangpu Tianyuan turned to ashes, lost in the wind. Gu Santong sneered at the empty ground and turned back to a child. He had no clue if Huangpu Tianyuan ever felt endless remorse at having messed with the father and son duo, that he dared pose before them, but with the loss of the dragon souls, despair was all those old eyes showed. It was then that the old man lost his will to live as well. Dad, I never knew you had such a trick. Is that 9 Serenities Emperor's master skill? You robbed the old guy of even his temper, Gu Santong smiled. Zhuo Fan cut him off. Young Sanzi, defend me while I unite the dragons. I'm breaking through. He sat cross-legged, eyes closed and cultivated. Gu Santong saw him rush and figured this had to be a rare chance for his old man. He stopped talking and was earnest in protecting him. 2 days went by, time in which Shuo Fan's power grew. Going 1 layer per day, reaching the 5th layer of profound heaven stage. And with this change his body healed as well. But Huangpu Tianyuan was a peak radiant stage expert, brimming with power. Whoosh! With a bang, a black chain shot for Zhuo Fan's skull. Gu Santong grabbed it. Who's there? Come out. Gu Santong, you are the imperial family's divine dragon, yet you collude with traitors of the empire? Did you forget the promise you made 300 years ago? As the black smoke twisted, Shadow King with Sima Hui and Feng Qiubai made their appearance. All while Zhuo Fan was calmly sitting there, ignoring the world around him. Chapter 456, The Ex-Best in the World. Chapter 456, The Ex-Best in the World. Gu Santong mocked, my promise refers to keeping imperial family alive for 1,000 years. It says nothing about dogs. I'll help if I feel like it. If not, no one can make me, humph. The 3 stared in shock. Check out the new big brain on the bugger. He figured out some loopholes. As to how, it didn't take them long to see that Zhuo Fan had something to do with it. These kinds of snappy and taunting remarks were more up Zhuo Fan's alley. The kid had no chance in figuring it all out by himself. The 3 turned heavy. Gu Santong was the strongest right now, but they couldn't just leave Zhuo Fan alone either. It would be unwise, to say the least. Shadow King said, then keep your promise by destroying all of Imperial family's enemies. With Zhuo Fan being a national traitor, abusing his power, he is a threat to all of us. Be it as a divine dragon or just to keep your word, you must root him out, not protect him. Humph, to hell with your protection. A son looks after his old man, it's the most natural thing in the world. Sticking out his chin, Gu Santong giggled, moreover, Dad has guaranteed that he'd leave the imperial family alive. He wants power, not status. The trio gasped. Feng Qiubai was astonished, young Sanzi, what did you just call him? Right, you still don't know that he's my godfather. Just try touching 1 hair of him and I promise to break your bones one by one, he. Gu Santong had a savage smile. Feng Qiubai was dumbstruck, a bad feeling creeping up on him. If Gu Santong only went to Zhuo Fan's side because of some fancy speech, they could still get him back on the straight and narrow path. Gu Santong had always been their strongest asset. But with this new relationship, like a family, they had no chance. What the hell did Zhuo Fan use to get the kid so eager to call him dad? Imperial family had been feeding the kid for centuries, yet nothing had worked to get him closer to them. Yet Zhuo Fan just came along and did it like nothing. The trio was speechless. When did it all start? But recalling the big war just a few days back, with Luo clan turning experts faster than flipping pancakes, the trio had to bow towards the master. Zhuo Fan was an expert when it came to manipulation. While also making them have a hard time facing Gu Santong right about now. Gu Santong was the best in the world for a reason. Senior, should we make a tactical retreat? Young Sanzi and Zhuo Fan make for the worst enemies. It's best that we report to His Majesty first. Sima Hui proposed. Feng Qiubai nodded, finding it the best choice. Shadow King was somewhat angry and reticent. Gu Santong, I used to respect you as being a man of your word, a hero. I don't resent you even in the current situation. But I never thought you'd be so despicable and wretched. Going by Zhuo Fan's speech, big things are happening. Even if the imperial family isn't overthrown, they'll end up as puppets. How is that any different from robbing their lands? Gu Santong, if there's still some decency left in you, you'd keep your promise and protect the imperial family's lands. Do your duty and not resort to petty tricks like reading between the lines. It is not how a man of honor conducts himself. Shadow King shouted. Gu Santong found it odd, and who are you supposed to be? I don't know you. Your creepy look, it has nothing to do with me. Ha ha ha, Gu Santong, you don't need to know. I only hope that you'll fulfill your promise. Shadow King's tone was tragic but firm. Gu Santong felt odd. The guy was speaking like an old friend, but he had never seen him in his life. With a wiggle of his nose, he got his answer. Shadow King's smell gave him a déjà vu. Who are you? Have we met? Gu Santong said. Shadow King flicked his chain at Zhuo Fan, top profound ranked martial art, heart-piercing nebula chain. The chain split into 1,000 chains in a blink, all going after Zhuo Fan. The powerful aura being emanated turned everything to dust. Even the air was vibrating. Gu Santong blanked out, waking up when the chains reached Zhuo Fan. He jumped in between and punched. Boom! The 1,000 chains disintegrated, leaving a shimmering air around Gu Santong's trembling fist. Feng Qiubai and Sima Hui looked at Shadow King stunned. With Gu Santong around, even together, the trio had no chance of harming Zhuo Fan. So why was Shadow King so persistent? Is he looking to be humiliated? Shadow King just stood in place, uncaring how easily his move was thwarted. He spoke again, Gu Santong, do you know me now? Gu Santong turned sad, you're still alive. I thought. Humph, alive? Shadow King mocked, does this look alive to you? Gu Santong only had a look of sorrow. Shadow King spoke heavily, if not for your punch back then, being on the brink of entering ethereal stage, wouldn't have turned into a spirit puppet, into neither human nor shade. I am filled with rage every time I think about it. But I don't hate you, because you always kept your word to me. But now, I am still a man of my word. Gu Santong justified. No, you've just found a way around it, unprincipled. Shadow King snapped. Gu Santong staggered back. The other two were shocked to the core. Shadow King had been loyal to the imperial family since even before the two came to office as divine dragons. But never once knew of his history. His reprimands were the biggest clue. He was the one to trap Gu Santong in a promise 300 years ago. Gu Santong gasped, restless, to which Shadow King shouted, didn't your godfather teach you about loyalty and justice? Are you going to turn your back on them? Gu Santong shook all over. His first godfather was his savior, teacher and mentor. He would never forget. Anyone could call him a demon or a monster, he didn't care. But to question his respect for his godfather, he could not accept. Shadow King found his words hitting something and showed a twisted smile among the black mist. The great Shadow King, the once best in Tianyu, the immemorial sage, comes back 3 centuries later to use some shoddy righteousness? Is this how a true man acts, deceiving children? Zhuo Fan sighed, opening his sharp eyes, looking down upon all creation with his overbearing power. He snapped his eyes on that shadow, before speaking of promises, shouldn't you straighten yourself first? Zhuo Fan. Shadow King gnashed his teeth, you rotten bastard, I don't know what fancy words you've used to deceive Gu Santong, but his first godfather was a scholar, a man of principle who taught his children virtue and honor. Unlike you, who leads him astray. Gu Santong, ask yourself, did your first godfather earn your respect and love, or is this despicable and vile thing is who you value more? Shadow King asked, putting Gu Santong on the spot. Shadow King was more than clear about his game, to strike at Gu Santong's heart by putting his 2 godfathers on a scale. Zhuo Fan walked in front of Gu Santong, rubbing his head, with a bright smile and speaking platitudes, be it your former righteous and honorable godfather, or the current despicable and repulsive one, we each have our own paths. But one thing we have in common is our love for our young Sanzi, which will never change. Gu Santong showed a bright smile. You sneaky little devil. Shadow King's cheek twitched in outrage. Chapter 457, Insidious Tongue, Insidious Eyes. Chapter 457, Insidious Tongue, Insidious Eyes. With a crafty smile, Zhuo Fan asked Shadow King, "Look who's talking." Luring and deceiving the young and innocent Sanzi into a backbreaking oath, does that make you a gentleman? Since you're no saint, why go around asking others to treat you like one? Zhuo Fan, I am loyal to the Empire. No amount of vilifying by a twisted lowlife can change that. Shadow King snapped, taking on an upright air, like he had the moral high ground, fearless and dauntless. Gu Santong pondered, Dad, he took my punches back then to defend his homeland. He is loyal to his country, a hero. Young Sanzi, I never doubted his loyalty, nor his resolve. But what is on him that makes him a gentleman? Humph, what a sick joke. Zhuo Fan continued, the diehards in this world, under the pretense of loyalty, have done unspeakable things by the score. Can a loyalist then say with no shame that his back is straight, his heart is righteous and use the same words to bind others into an oath? Ha ha ha, then let me ask you, O great Shadow King sir, a bastion of justice, you conned an innocent child with no remorse, to become an indentured slave for imperial family for 300 years. And now you've come again, using that same principle. Is this how a gentleman acts, picking on the small? Shadow King choked, but he cooled down soon. This is a gentleman's accord between me and Gu Santong. How can he just go back on it? Hardly, I only hear how a gentleman adapts to the situation, how flexible he is. You cheated a kid last time, so how can you still call yourself a gentleman? As for being an accord between gentlemen, since you're so ungentlemanlike, how does it still hold? Zhuo Fan grinned. He always thought young Sanzi's promise was a load of baloney that the sage had cooked up. But young Sanzi was a child of honor, taking it to heart and never breaking his word on his own. And since the sage died in the fight 300 years ago, Zhuo Fan had no way to break that promise. How convenient, the creditor was still alive and kicking. Giving Zhuo Fan the leverage to break this oath at the seams, releasing the kid from the shackles of Tianyu's imperial family. Gu Santong was a passive listener to these two's debate, finding his old man's words sound and true, evident by that nod. Shadow King panicked and hatred festered in his heart. Gu Santong was gullible, despite being around for 3 centuries. But being in constant companionship with a mastermind like Zhuo Fan had turned easy persuasion into an undertaking. Gu Santong, remember our promise at my time of death, how I took 10 of your punches. Shut it. Shadow King took on the same manner he had last time to move Gu Santong, but Zhuo Fan wouldn't have it. Sage, I may not think of you as a gentleman, but I do admire your feat 3 centuries ago. However, a man of valor does not flaunt his qualities. And you just keep on going back to it again and again, using it to lie to a child all over again and all in the name of empty honor. Talk about shamelessness. As a divine dragon, dying for your lord and in line of duty is something I understand. It's in your job description. But to use that zealotry to bind an innocent child, humph. I've never seen a more despicable man in my life. Forget the fact that you turned into a spirit puppet, mind you. A prick with a thick face like yours, has the audacity to go on living, while building up the Shadow Core, those deranged and twisted minds? Why you, Shadow King panted, his shadowy face taking a red tint. He was so high-strung that all he could do was point at Zhuo Fan. Feng Qiubai and Sima Hui looked at Zhuo Fan in shock and gulped. They were acquainted with Zhuo Fan's strength time and time again, while only now did they learn of his sharp tongue. He had got this ex-expert tongue-tied in a diatribe. And since he fell short in insults and got trashed in battle, Shadow King showed a face the two had never seen before. Senior, ease your anger and mind your health. Sima Hui advised, seeing him on the verge of collapse from rage. Shadow King pointed at Zhuo Fan, but all he managed to do was gnash his teeth. Zhuo Fan snickered, last but not the least, how did you know about the matter of young Sanzi's godfather? Can it be that the imperial family arranged it? Shadow King's heart seized, his shuddering body soaked. Ha ha ha, I'm right, isn't it? Imperial family had planned it. Zhuo Fan cackled. Gu Santong looked incredulous. Dad, what are you saying? Young Sanzi, I do not know what happened 3 centuries ago, but this senior sage here, through his attempt at using pretty words to cheat you again, has spilled the beans. Isn't it odd how he knew about your godfather's upright character? As I recall, the imperial family interfered after your fight with the 7 houses. Your godfather should have been killed at that point. Zhuo Fan's eyes took on a wild glint. Shadow King only looked at him in a deep frown. Gu Santong mulled it over. Godfather, what does it all mean? Just tell me. Simple really. Everything that happened to you was because they used you. It was the imperial family's plot to weaken the 7 houses and reduce their position. Zhuo Fan had a twisted smile. When I met the emperor, he said that he had kept an eye on me ever since the hubbub back in Drifting Flowers City. That's normal, as every ruler would do when there's an event in their backyard, to the point that they'd even figure out the source of it. But don't you find it even remotely odd how the emperor back then only acted when you had half the nation in chaos? Ha ha ha, it's because it was premeditated. The way I see it, ever since you pilfered the house's ingredient stash, your every move was under imperial family's supervision. All so that you and the houses would fight it off to weaken them. If anything, your meeting with Godfather was also part of imperial family's plan to re-educate you and then have the 7 houses kill his entire family. What? Gu Santong clenched his fists, his eyes red. Godfather, is that true? Bullshit, Gu Santong, don't believe his lies. Shadow King roared. The imperial family's losses were also heavy at the time. If it were imperial family's ploy, they wouldn't burn themselves with it. There's no one so cruel to themselves. Ha ha ha, yeah, no one is that cruel to themselves. But you forget one thing, what man proposes, heaven disposes. There's not a single man out there who can control everything. From just a simple mistake, everything could unravel. Young Sanzi, this is clearly the situation. Zhuo Fan continued, all humans are good at birth. Young Sanzi had just entered these lands and didn't know right from wrong. That is why he stole those ingredients, inciting calamity. But his strength kept him alive, even when badly wounded. This caught your attention. But you were wrong about one thing, young Sanzi's wound was because he was still new at fighting, making an erroneous estimate of his strength and deciding to use him. That's where his godfather came in. Whether he was your man or one you placed, he was young Sanzi's teacher either way, showing him a life of honor. Then you drew the 7 houses over to kill him, planting the seed of revenge. Zhuo Fan described it like he was there, but this was only an excuse. Young Sanzi was your center stage puppet. Even if he was too weak, you just help him fight the 7 houses from the shadows and let him take the fall. It must have come as a total shock, I wager, when the enraged young Sanzi turned invincible, trampling even the likes of the 7 houses. You were happier than ever, I'm sure. But all good things must come to an end. Young Sanzi's power was outrageous, out of your control. So when you entered the stage for some spring cleaning, you couldn't do anything and suffered heavy losses just the same. That's what being too smart for your own good does. Where the enemy loses 1,000 and you lose 800. Zhuo Fan sighed. Shadow King was sweating buckets, fear creeping in. Zhuo Fan does not just have an insidious tongue, but his eyes are damn revolting too. Is he even human to figure it all out so fast? Shadow King remained silent. Only Gu Santong shivered now and then, the rage boiling inside. Chapter 458, Parting. Chapter 458, Parting. Is what Dad just said true? Gu Santong stared Shadow King dead in the eye. Shadow King would never admit it in his life, or second life, choosing instead to fall back to nitpicking. Those are just random guesses and lies. There's no way he knows what happened all those years ago. Right, I don't, and all I said were mere speculations. But even so, it does feel true, doesn't it? Especially the part you blurted out. Zhuo Fan grinned. Gu Santong asked Shadow King, "How did you know about my godfather's character? Everything in this world belongs to the emperor. Of course we knew everything about you. Is it that odd?" Forcing the calm to stay, Shadow King preached. Zhuo Fan grinned, "Senior sage, what a perfect memory you have. Let's forget for a moment the relationship he had with young Sanzi, when his godfather was but a simple scholar. Yet you had the perfect mind to remember his character from 300 years ago. I didn't think you cared, ha ha ha." Shadow King clenched his fists. Zhuo Fan didn't even have an iota of proof, but his every question was perfect, jabbing right where it hurt. He might as well have said, experts like him who took commoners like ants would mind some nobody. To say nothing of remembering their character 300 years later. Were peak experts nowadays that bored? Who the hell would want such pain? The only plausible explanation was the meticulous planning involved in weakening the 7 houses. How could the head divine dragon of that time ever forget such a critical operation? Shadow King took a deep breath. Gu Santong understood it all, and the hurting began. That meant his godfather was only following orders, his care for him was fake. The only person he trusted in those 300 years was planted behind smoke and mirrors. He was, for all intents and purposes, alone. Ah! Gu Santong roared his grief at the heavens. Zhuo Fan sighed, feeling sorry for the kid. He never wanted to look into what happened back then and would rather think of another way to break the vow. But Shadow King just had to hang the promise over Gu Santong's head. So what if Gu Santong had to defend the imperial family? He could just replace them as long as Gu Santong didn't interfere. But now, as the mist scattered and the truth came to light, young Sanzi had lost his most cherished moments. As his second godfather, Zhuo Fan felt his pain. It began with using Gu Santong for his own schemes, but the kid had grown on him. Watching his own son in pain would bring any father grief. Gu Santong, your godfather was one of us. He was loyal to the crown, to the imperial family, and died with no regrets. As his godson, you should follow his footsteps and defend the Nat Dash. Enough. Shadow King tried to use the truth this time to switch Gu Santong around, but the kid was too enraged. Liars, you are all liars. Shadow King cried inside. Gu Santong's fire burned hotter and he might explode any second. He had assessed Gu Santong's strength over the centuries. Even with feeding him junk food, no one could beat him. Once a fight broke out, the trio would be left for dead. 3 Grand Peak Radiant Stage experts fighting a mere third layer of Radiant Stage child looked more like mice scurrying away. You lied to me, for 3 whole centuries. Thump. Gu Santong stomped his way toward them, leaving behind burning imprints. The 3 gulped in fright. The flames came from the burning of Yuan Qi. But any cultivator worth his salt could do that. While the kid's Yuan Qi flame still burned way outside his body. It proved that his Yuan Qi was of incredibly high concentration. They wrote Gu Santong off as a muscle-bound thug, only to find the kid's Yuan Qi a monster in its own right. It only makes Gu Santong more ferocious and deadly. The trio's hearts sank with every step forward. Young Sanzi, the world is filled with false truths and covered truths, with the genuine article hidden in the middle. Those events 3 centuries ago may be lies, but that does not mean your godfather didn't care for you. Humans aren't like plants, especially those weak cultivators. Who is to say the long days spent around you didn't evoke genuine feelings of fatherhood? Zhuo Fan spoke as Gu Santong's aura stifled the trio in his approach. Gu Santong halted, turning back puzzled. Dad, you mean, godfather treated me like a real son? It should be, since that's how the devious and demonic me treats you. How couldn't that mortal feel love just the same? If he hadn't, then it would make my demonic path a waste to not even compare to a mortal's. Ha ha ha, Zhuo Fan nodded. Gu Santong was taken back to those memories and his power surge ebbed. Zhuo Fan turned to the trio with a shout, "You three listen up and listen well. I and young Sanzi will let this go, putting this matter to a rest. You don't mention this again and we won't look to settle the debt of cheating young Sanzi either. But from this point on, young Sanzi and you have no ties. He is a divine dragon no longer, and neither your national guardian. Am I clear?" Gu Santong looked from Zhuo Fan to the three. Shadow King frowned, totally not wanting it to be clear. But Gu Santong could jump them at any time. Did he have the luxury to argue past promises? Keeping his life was already God-sent. Sending Gu Santong to Zhuo Fan's side is the biggest loss yet. Shadow King lamented inside and nodded, "Fine, the oath is now lifted. We will meet again." Shadow King flew away, with Sima Hui right behind. Only Fang Qiubai was still out of it. "Zhuo Fan, with your style, shouldn't you take this chance to rob our lives for your interest?" "Why? Humph, you think I'm the type to let you go out of the goodness of my heart?" "Ha ha ha, I'm doing it for young Sanzi." Zhuo Fan mocked. Fang Qiubai turned a lost look to Gu Santong, then exclaimed. Gu Santong was in the worst pain of his life, on the brink of sinking into hatred and revenge. Even after wiping the floor with them, he'd still be consumed by it, the grief becoming a dangerous threat to his cultivation. It would halt his progress for all his life, bringing nothing but more pain and suffering. But through Zhuo Fan's speech, he released the kid from his oath, bringing closure to that ill affair and opening the way to the future. Fang Qiubai smiled, "Great Steward Zhuo, isn't it easier to control those hellbent on revenge? Yet a great mind like you missed such a prime opportunity. Ha ha ha, I find that you're a savage only with the rest of the world, while quite considerate to your people. And? What's that got to do with you?" Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow. Fang Qiubai shook his head, "Nothing whatsoever. But do not forget your brotherhood with the third prince. If he doesn't live up to it, you don't have to either. You can see from how he is that he has never been unworthy to you. While you, ha ha ha." Zhuo Fan cursed inside. God's blasted son of a, he got young Sanzi's chains off, but he forgot about them. What the hell was wrong with him? Tying the knot with the tubby, "I gotta fight the imperial family yet I can't do anything to him. Oh, right, I was still weak back then and was looking for a shoulder to lean on." He found the reason quite fast and scratched his nose. Fang Qiubai smiled, "Zhuo Fan, I finally know how you treat others. Rest easy, the third prince will never go against you. And a word of advice, His Majesty's plan is meticulous. The entire scene is under his complete control. Be careful." "Oh, you're a divine dragon," yet also, Zhuo Fan gave a smile. The two's hearts were in sync. Fang Qiubai continued, "Young Sanzi, our time together hasn't been pleasant but I am really happy for you. You're lucky to have Zhuo Fan. He cares the most about his people, ha ha ha." Fang Qiubai left after saying that. Gu Santong blinked and turned to Zhuo Fan with a brilliant smile. Zhuo Fan patted his head. The two's relationship grew stronger. Gu Santong even thought that Zhuo Fan was greater than his first godfather. Chapter 459, Little Master. Chapter 459, Little Master. Dad, haven't you combined the dragons yet? Why are you only in the 5th layer of Profound Heaven stage? That earthworm was a peak radiant stage expert. 2 flashes crossed the blue sky, with one flapping its blue wings and wearing an evil smile. The other was the most adorable little child in a cute red glow. Gu Santong didn't understand Zhuo Fan's good mood, but the latter laughed, "Ha ha ha, cultivation comes in slow and steady steps. I may have taken the whole dragon vein, but it's not so easy to refine them, or I'd be in the ethereal stage by now. It wouldn't benefit my future cultivation either. My foundation in this life has never been better. I want to reach further and beyond anyone else, and not tie myself down with transitory riches and fame." He, in any case, cultivation has no shortcuts. Or the faster your path, the shorter it is. Shuo Fan sighed. Gu Santong nodded, but that earthworm sure was hard to beat. Even after kicking him around in my main form, he just wouldn't die. We shouldn't have given him the Bodhi root. No, we had to. Shuo Fan shook his head. 9 Dragons' diamond body was the basis of his confidence in igniting the war. If he hadn't moved, then neither would the emperor. And if the emperor stood still, the court would be the same festering cesspool, working against us in the long run. We needed a good catalyst. In vernacular, as long as we crossed swords, the emperor would only then take his court through spring cleaning. Using the civil war that engulfed the whole nation as our righteous excuse to replace his rule, we can then make our claim. Gu Santong frowned. Dad, why go through all this trouble? With the 2 of us, invincible, we can flatten the imperial capital now that rotten oath is gone as well. We'll see then if those cowards dare to mess with us. Oh, young Sanzi, this is why you lost the last time around. I dare say, even without the sage to cheat you, you still couldn't have taken hold of the empire. Shuo Fan laughed. If your motives aren't pure, there's nothing to gain. Without a good excuse, no one would listen to you even if you take the nation for yourself. Besides, what's a country if not a vast farmland? If you want them to listen to your orders and farm, you need a grand purpose to have them all come bearing these resources at your feet. Or even if you are the strongest, with such a large domain, are you going to mine or harvest the stuff yourself? Speaking of Tianyu's emperor, he has had a steady flow of resources coming year in year out. With these as incentives, many experts gather under him. That's why every single ruler pays attention to righteousness, to justify their claim. Or even if you're godlike, it'd be hard to take all that stuff by yourself and, frankly, it's just not worth it. Gu Santong paused and nodded. He recalled the time he went looking for ingredients, the bitterness of not finding anything good even in a month. But the 7 houses were loaded, offering him a 3-square meal once he swiped them clean, of course. Didn't they get so much stuff from their vassals? Gu Santong now got an idea of what being upright meant, stealing everything in broad daylight, and with a smile too. The more he thought about it, the more he realized that the imperial family and the 7 houses were more insidious and vile than him who just took a tiny bit to fill his belly. Young Sanzi, you must now know more skills, right? Shuo Fan asked. Gu Santong beamed. Yep, uncle developed my innate strength. I can use the Qilin shield and return to my innate form. The last one is Soaring Fist, but I'm still practicing it. Shuo Fan nodded. Vaulting Kunpeng hasn't shown any ill will, so far. And was earnest in helping young Sanzi discover his strength. He thought about it and was relieved. Boom. Explosions came from afar, drawing the 2's attention. Just half a mile out, a lofty city was under heavy siege. The glittering barriers around the city shimmered as dozens of radiant stage experts launched their attacks. The city itself had its own team of radiant stage experts holding the arrays, hard and dauntless like a mountain. That's Regent Estate's home, Caged Dragon City. Gu Santong perked up. Grinning, Shuo Fan nodded. After a casual week-long flight, we've finally made it. Elder Chiu and the rest are besieging it by the looks of it. He, I once took my shot at it back in the day, but it was just so tough that it took me a whole day to flatten it. They won't breach it in their lifetime. Regent Estate's home has a total of 385 barriers, plus 10 fifth-grade arrays. Not even 1,000,000 men can do it. Gu Santong grew smug at his achievement. Shuo Fan shook his head. Young Sanzi, they'd die of shame if they heard you. It's not my fault if they ask. I just gotta tell them. Of course, but do it in style. That's how father and son operate, ha ha ha, Shuo Fan laughed. Gu Santong laughed as well, catching on. Meanwhile, Qiu Yanhai and his wife were in the air before the city and in a deep frown. Elder Qiu, it's not working. Caged Dragon City's defense is too tough. A figure reported. Qiu Yanhai knew him to be a surrendered Radiant Stage Elder and his face fell. Won't work. It's been 10 days now yet you couldn't break one barrier. We'd much sooner kick the bucket before breaching it. Are you perhaps still thinking of your old life and slacking off? No, never, how could we? Ever since Luo clan took us in, we've cut all ties. Just that caged dragon city is a tough nut to crack. The man's face fell. Qiu Yanhai was outraged. Beat it. If you don't punch through and Steward Zhuo comes after my skin for it, I'll take it out on all of you. The guy ducked his head, returning to attack the city scared like he was. Qiu Yanhai was left panting behind, watching the siege in the distance with a hard look. Xue Qingjian sighed, this city won't go down so easily. Should we use the life and death art? Absolutely not. Grandmother shot her down, Elder Xue, with elderly back in Windgaze City to recover. You two are the only pillars here to intimidate the experts inside. But with the life and death art taking too much of your yuan qi and with Leng Wuchang's sharp mind, we may fall for his tricks and end up defeated. Hey, Biddy, what do you mean by that? You take us brothers for nothing, the demonic cultivator hero quartet? Violent Demon butted in, without these geezers, you still have the four of us. Not to worry, you may go and die to your heart's content. Yep, the others cheered. Xue Qingjian glared, you four shits must mean for you to die first, right? Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquis Abode's men shook their heads. These four pygmies were strong, but missing a screw, or more. How the Luo clan could handle these idiots was beyond them. If the power couple fell, they'd never accept these four as the next in line to lead the siege even if their lives depended on it, which it technically did. But with that impenetrable city in front of them, all anyone could do was sigh. Amidst the conflict, a laughter came. I had thought you'd have whacked those shrimps by now. But I see you've been waiting for me to take over. Everyone lit up and looked in the distance. Zhuo Fan. Their cheering was cut short as they saw the dreaded figure hidden behind, invincible scamp, Gu Santong. Zhuo Fan, Gu Santong is still after you. Long Kuei pointed behind Zhuo Fan in fear. But Zhuo Fan just stood there with an ineffable smile. All of Luo clan's elders bowed, Steward Zhuo. Then they turned to Gu Santong making a 90 degrees down angle, Little Master. What? The title had everyone stare in space, from shock and awe. Chapter 460, Breach. Chapter 460, Breach. A Little Master. They looked at one another, each more puzzled than the next. What's the strongest divine dragon doing, not chasing Zhuo Fan and instead getting acquainted with the Luo clan? By the looks of that flawless bow, they're pretty close, even calling him Little Master. Zhuo Fan grinned, pulling Gu Santong in front. Ha ha ha, you didn't know? Let me make the proper introductions. Gu Santong, my godson. What? Everyone stared at him with dull and blank looks. That little explanation was enough to justify the Little Master title. With his position, calling the kid a kind of young master was totally within his purview. What got the crowd baffled though was, how did the demon Gu Santong end up as his godson? No one could tame the freak for 3 centuries but Zhuo Fan just showed up and it was a done deal. Everyone made strange faces at Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo, when did you and Gu Santong have the fortune to get so close? Grandmother probed. Zhuo Fan smiled. Around 8 years ago, me and young Sanzi traded blows leading to us becoming the father and son duo we are today, ha ha ha. Oh, I see. Grandmother nodded. She used to wonder why they fought a mean fight back in the Imperial Palace. It was now obvious from their close relationship. And since they knew each other before it, that battle was just a farce. And by connecting the dots with the imperial family's attitude for the 7 houses, Grandmother smelled a conspiracy. Grandmother turned grave. Steward Zhuo, what have you planned after this war? Zhuo Fan praised, smart, and smiled. Don't worry, I have everything set up. Grandmother nodded. Only now did she have an inkling as to what was with those series of strange events so far. Why the imperial family broke it off with Luo clan over a mere marriage proposal, why instead of keeping the 7 houses in check, it turned a deaf ear to the regent estate's blind ambition. With Zhuo Fan's shindig at the imperial palace as the start, it had already exposed the imperial family's intention of clashing with the houses. Zhuo Fan didn't just lash out either, having seen through it. The way he pulled away Gu Santong, their great general, proved it. Not even the emperor knew of this by his behavior back then. Hiding such a relation for 5 years was a killer move. It all made sense. The imperial family wants domestic peace by eliminating any dissidents. Zhuo Fan had long since entertained the thought of taking on the world, and regent estate used this chaos to expand. Each with their own goal, all at the low price of the other houses, out of the loop and toyed with like fodder. Now that they were in Zhuo Fan's boat, they were stuck with him and his orders. That was the purpose behind her question regarding Zhuo Fan's plans after defeating Regent Estate. His answer laid her worries to rest. Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquis Abode's people were still clueless. Steward Zhuo, what's become of Huangpu Tianyuan? With such a huge commotion in the nation, they were all concerned about the 9 Dragons Diamond Body Freak. Long Yifei couldn't fight the question. Everyone looked on hopefully. Zhuo Fan snickered, do you need to ask? With young Sanzi's help, he's dead as a doornail. Everyone released a breath. They figured it might be so. 9 Dragons Diamond Body was a freak, but he didn't stand a chance against Gu Santong and Zhuo Fan teaming up. They only wanted confirmation. They looked at the duo with more praise. No one can top them in Tianyu. Luo clan had shot from a down-in-the-dumps third-rate clan to higher than the 7 houses and their legacies in just a decade. They all admired Zhuo Fan, for he was the one to bring it all to pass. Steward Zhuo, I have failed you. We've been attacking Caged Dragon City for 10 days but can't do anything to it. Qiu Yanhai sighed. Zhuo Fan glanced at Gu Santong. The kid let out a theatrical sigh, 10 days and no results. You sure are useless. Guess this young master and my dad will have to show you how it's done. Qiu Yanhai's face twitched. Getting told off by a kid, even if a freak, bruised his pride. The others sighed. Like father, like son. The ever-stubborn invincible scamp took to the ill-reputed act of showing off like fish to water. Zhuo Fan laughed, ruffling the kid's hair in pride. My son is a hero. If young Sanzi doesn't show it, how can he be called my son, ha ha ha. Under the expectant gazes of the excited audience, Gu Santong and Zhuo Fan entered the play. Zhuo Fan's right eye flashed golden and Gu Santong's adorable fists surged with rampant power. Look, someone's attacking. A radiant stage expert from within the city said. The one next to him dissed him, lighten up, no matter who comes, we have the 8 overseers watching the heaven-locking chain array. Not even the emperor can breach it. Oh, no, that's Zhuo Fan. What? People panicked at the familiar creepy smile and their hearts seized. Zhuo Fan's presence meant their estate lord. Zhuo Fan's shout traveled to every corner of Caged Dragon City, like a demon archon, striking fear in all. Divine Eye of the Void's second stage, Void Annihilation. Soaring fist, splitting heaven. Gu Santong shouted, throwing his delicate fist into the air. Boom. Something shot through the air, breaking 300+ barriers like nothing. Then came Gu Santong's outrageous punch, taking out the arrays. Rumble. Like a flood, the array operating radiant stage experts spat blood and collapsed lifeless. Caged Dragon City shook like never before, reaching the brink of collapse. Bam! A door slammed open, revealing a Regent Estate's elder rushing in. Sir Leng, our defenses are breached. What do we do? Leng Wuchang sat in his seat with closed eyes. What can we do? Surrender. Our only hope fell with Estate Lord. Since I heard Zhuo Fan just now, it only means estate lord. Even if this array is yet to fall, holding out now has no meaning. That, the elder shook his head, crestfallen. If not even the resourceful Leng Wuchang could come up with something, all that remained was for him to send the order to lay down their arms. The house lords heard it and were totally against it. Zhuo Fan was their bitter enemy, how could they just give up? Yen Bagong in particular, riddled with 100 poisons. The Grand Hall Lord lost everything when a traitor defeated him in his area of expertise, poisons. And now he'd go down as a captive. How could he stand for it? What were they supposed to do anyway? Their boss was the strongest, Regent Estate. And since it had capitulated, their opinions hardly mattered. I went with Regent Estate because I wanted to get revenge on Zhuo Fan for destroying my home. But now, even the Regent Estate lies defeated, ha ha ha, heaven has forsaken me, Yuan Shan sighed. The rest were feeling just the same. Meanwhile, the attackers watched the father-son duo do in an instant what they couldn't in 10 days. All were bug-eyed, some slack-jawed, at the unbelievable power that existed in this world. It was like there were two Gu Santongs. There might not be another pair like them. Zhuo Fan's order came, capture Regent Estate and bring me Leng Wuchang, alive. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.